Is the atmosphere here at St James's Park, as it always is. Very excited to be here for a lunchtime kickoff on Talksport. Black and white flags adorning the whole of this fantastic stadium. A big countdown clock up at the Lees end, counting down to kickoff, which is very, very shortly. Hoping for goals in this one. Newcastle United have only failed to score in 3 games in all competitions this season. Bournemouth only just behind them, by the way. Just 5 matches they've not been on the score sheet. Newcastle could go third with a win. Bournemouth could close the gap on the hosts to just a point. Should be an entertaining game. Sit back and enjoy live and exclusively here on Talksport with Sam Matterface and Stuart Pearce.
Hello everyone, welcome to the northeast of England on what is a chilly, clear day in England's most northerly city. The sun is out, the sky is blue, and there is a hint of optimism in the air. We are at St James's Park in Newcastle to witness Newcastle United's attempt at setting a new club record. Currently on a run of 9 straight victories for the first time in the top flight since the days of Kevin Keegan, Peter Beardsley, Andy Cole and David Ginola. They have never won 10 in a row before. Back then, they were named the Entertainers, a team of swagger, a team of style. This lot appeared to prioritise substance and solidity. Not so much the Entertainers, although there is certainly a bit of that, but backed up by the Enforcers. A midfield engine room to envy and a striker whose instinct for finishing means he is coveted by those perceived to be higher up the bill. Alexander Isak has scored in each of his last 8 Premier League games. Only 2 players in Premier League history have scored in 9. But as Newcastle United will tell you, records are there to be broken. Bournemouth will not be easy to swat aside, unbeaten in a club record 9 successive Premier League games. Andoni Iraola's well-coached, well-honed team have not lost on the road in the Premier League in 2 months. So if Newcastle beat Bournemouth, continue their strikers' great strawing run and temporarily go third in the Premier League, that really will be the cherry on top of the celebratory cake. Stuart Pearce is alongside me in the commentary box as the 2 teams come out to a brilliant noise. And this place, when Newcastle were in form like this, when Newcastle United have got opportunity like this, is an incredible place to be. Looking away to our right hand side, the flags are up, the black and white scarves are above the heads of the supporters in the Gallowgate end, and a huge, massive, great big black and white flag with that famous blue star emblazoned on the middle is doing the rounds away to our right hand side. It's an incredible atmosphere, isn't it?
It's brilliant. I go back, I joined this club in '97 and run out. My first game of the season was Sheffield Wednesday at home, and I'd spent 12 years at Nottingham Forest beforehand and playing for England and bits and pieces like that. But the atmosphere when I run out at this place was unbelievable, and it's just cranked up tenfold since, I think, Sam.
The Bournemouth players have come out all wearing T-shirts that are paying tributes to their injured teammate Enis Unal, who suffered yet another anterior cruciate ligament injury, which is going to rule him out for probably nearly 12 months. It was something that we saw the Arsenal players do for Gabriel Jesus earlier in the week, and they've just taken those off to reveal a very fetching turquoise away kit today that they are wearing here at St James's Park. The 2 teams look like this: Martin Dubravka, the Newcastle goalkeeper, Livramento, the right back, Botman Byrne and Lewis Hall are the back 4. It's Tonali as the holder in midfield, Guimaraes and Joel Linton either side of him, Jacob Murphy, Alexander Isak and Anthony Gordon, who's been in great form himself, playing on the left-hand side. As far as Bournemouth are concerned, it's Kepa Arrizabalaga in goal, Lewis Cook, Dean Housen, who's been incredibly impressive at only 19 years of age at the heart of defence alongside Ilya Zabanya, and Milos Kerkez, similarly attack-minded left-back, who's been impressive on that left-hand side. Adams and Christie will hold in midfield. Cook having to go at right-back means there's a vacancy there. Kluivert comes in the 10 position with Brooks on the right, Semenyo on the left and Ouattara through the centre. Well, later on Talksport 2, we've got West Ham against Crystal Palace for you. Tomorrow, Leeds, Sheffield Wednesday from the Championship at midday is also on 2. We'll have full coverage of all the Premier League games on the Sunday session with Adrian Durham this week, who'll also be here at 2:30 to whip you around the grounds on this Saturday afternoon. 25 years of Talksport, but the football has always dominated. And today's no different. Newcastle United in black and white striped jerseys, black shorts and black socks will shoot towards the Lees' ends in the first half, away to our left-hand side. And Bournemouth in what Faker Others has decided is a teal jersey, teal shorts and teal socks with a slightly dusty pink trim, will attack the Gallagher end in the first half. Our referee is Stuart Atwell, our VAR is Peter Banks, and we're about to get off and underway in the first Premier League game of yet another pivotal weekend. There are new benchmarks to set, new headlines to write, and we'll do it in the company of the former England Forest and Newcastle superstar Stuart Pearce. How tricky are Bournemouth going to make this for Newcastle?
Well, they're on a decent run themselves, you know, they're in a good place in the league, no pressure on them at all. I think they've got attacking threat that could be a big problem for Newcastle. But if you think a game in the Premier League is going to be straightforward, guess again, because we've been found out many times before. But Newcastle certainly go into this game favourites.
Newcastle have the ball on the halfway line, just a step inside their own territory, with Tino Livramento hiding the ball behind his back and then pulling it over his shoulder before getting the throw-in back into play. And he gives it to Isaac, who flicks it up into the air, headed down by Joel Linton over on that right-hand side, and then cleared away by Housen and out towards the far side.
Just looking, Newcastle have got a throw-in on the far side with Livramento, and Bournemouth are absolutely condensing play over that side. Brooks, the right side midfield player, what's he, 10 yards from the touchline as we're looking? Yeah. They really are sort of suffocating Newcastle.
Now that's their plan. Newcastle tenacious and quick out of the blocks against Wolves. Bournemouth started poorly actually against Chelsea, but came roaring back in the second half. Newcastle took until the 34th minute to get in front on Wednesday, but that was pretty slow by their recent standards. They usually get off the mark quickly. Ball over the head of Lewis Hall, and Brooks now on this near touch line, tries to chase it, gets there first, then tries to go out on the outside of Hall, gets into the penalty area, looks to pull it back to the edge of the box, but Tonali sensed the danger, got in front of the advancing Kluivert and managed to clear it upfield and away from harm's way. And that was brilliant sort of sensing of the danger from the Italian, just knowing where to stand. But Brooks has won it again right side, got in front of Lewis Hall and nipped him to midfield, played it to Kluivert, then got it back off of Ouattara, looped over the top of the defence and hacked clear by Lewis Hall and out towards this near side. A bit of a nervy start from Hall, who knows that Brooks has beaten him twice already for pace. And he has the ball again, Brooks, on this near side. Tries to take on Lewis Hall once more. Goes to go on the outside, then tries to play it behind him. This time Hall stands firm and bounces it out for a throw-in on this near side. We play just a little over 2 minutes. You're listening to Talksport, and it's Newcastle United 0, Bournemouth 0.
Well, I think Bournemouth in these early stages, you can see how well organised they are, suffocating Newcastle from a normal throw-in where people back off and let the opposition play out. They weren't prepared to do that. Suffocated play over the far side, turned the ball over, and then this young man Housen, I'm looking forward to watching him today. Fantastic raking pass out to Brooks on the right-hand side.
Well, they don't mind a long pass, Bournemouth. Only Everton play more long balls than Bournemouth in the Premier League. They do like to be fast, direct. They like to be exciting. They aren't a stereotypical long ball team, but they are one of the most aggressive, high-pressing teams in the league. They often go man for man. They've got a determination to win the ball high up, and it usually works for them. Here is Byrne playing the ball out from defence and straight to Ryan Christie, who's nabbed it, given it to Kluivert and sent it wide to the right. The cross by Brooks into the centre. Ouattara with the first-time shot. Save comes back to Semenyo, and he's fired it over the bar. What a chance for Bournemouth to take the lead, and they really should have done. A mistake by Dan Byrne led to a turnover by Bournemouth. They fed the ball to the edge of the penalty area. Kluivert fed it into Dango Ouattara. He turned and got the shot on target, saved down low by Dubravka, spooned out into the middle of the box. The quickest to react was Semenyo, but he fired it over the top of the crossbar.
Well, Bournemouth suffocating Newcastle with their man-to-man press, then turned it over, and Semenyo really should have scored. Poor effort from where he was. I mean, the first one was well saved, the second one just skied.
Brooks near side, infield to Kluivert. They've started brightly, Bournemouth. The ball has gone wide towards the right, and Lewis Cook getting high up on this near side, delivers a cross which is flicked on by Brooks, stabbed away by Byrne inside the 18-yard box for Newcastle, and it's out on this near side and away for a throw-in. We've played 4.5 minutes. Newcastle United 0, Bournemouth 0. Live on Talksport at St James's Park. The throw-in from Cook is sent back to the Ukrainian Zabarny, and then all the way back to halfway. Newcastle were in the bottom half of the Premier League table on December the 1st, and it just shows you what a winning run can do. Win today, and for a bit the team will go into third position, but they'll have to play a little bit brighter than they have done in the opening 5 minutes. And Semenyo is on the attack again, this time down the left-hand side, trying to get into an advanced position, then turns it back towards the edge of the penalty area where Christie was waiting, into the feet of Kluivert, and then Adams, and then back left again to Semenyo once more. Kluivert dropping deep to pick the ball up, being watched like a hawk by Bruno Guimaraes, goes back wide to Semenyo, and still Bournemouth retain possession here 5 minutes in.
Yeah, they certainly, Bournemouth and their football and their pressing have certainly quietened the crowd down here, and once again they're in behind the Newcastle backline.
Semenyo getting it back to Kluivert, right-footed shot into the far corner, and it's beyond the goalkeeper Dubravka, and Bournemouth take an early lead at St James's Park, and Justin Kluivert, whose dad used to play for Newcastle United, has opened the scoring here in the northeast. Newcastle's crowd slightly frustrated by that, but it's a goal that's been coming since the first whistle. 6 minutes gone, Newcastle 0, Bournemouth 1, and Justin Kluivert has got his 9th of the season.
Well, Bournemouth have done brilliantly well, silencing the crowd early on, good pressing, and a great ball there. I think it was Howson, was it again, who slid that ball behind the back line, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong on that one. And when it was pulled back, Kluivert, no panic, unlike Semenyo early on, no panic, side-footed it into the far corner with great confidence and aplomb. And this first goal was going to be so vital, especially with Bournemouth getting it now.
I think that key pass came from Christie.
Oh, sorry, I've
a super ball down that left-hand side.
It certainly was.
And it was centred into Kluivert, who didn't hesitate, fired it from about 15 yards from the goal into the far corner. And Kluivert has put Newcastle on the back foot, but they're coming forward here for the first time. Tonali into the area from Guimaraes, squares it towards Isaac, cleared away by Zabarny. Howson gets it further up the field, and Semenyo tries to turn out of danger. And Newcastle just got to up their intensity here. That's something that they've been getting right over the course of the last few weeks and months. But again, the ball goes back to Dubravka. He's under a little bit of pressure. It didn't quite come off for him. Now Tonali trying to steer it through to Isaac, and he's done that. He runs at the Bournemouth defence, goes past Zabarny. Zabarny stands firm, and Cook comes across on the cover from right back into the central area, just in front of the penalty area, and he spoons it out over on the far side and away for a throw into Newcastle. 7.5 minutes gone. Bournemouth lead by a goal to 0.
I don't know whether teams underestimate Bournemouth, Sam, you know what I mean? From what I've seen, as I said earlier, I've not seen them live this season, and they've been very impressive with their football and their pressing at this moment.
Bruno Guimaraes trying to win a 50-50 on halfway, but away they come with Milos Kerkez down that left-hand side. He plays it in towards Brooks, and Brooks is dispossessed, and it goes out on this near side for a free kick to Bournemouth, just in from the touchline, away to our left. Well, what a start for Bournemouth, super start, and getting in front after just 6 minutes. And Kluivert, who I think probably is going to have to take on a bit more of the goal-scoring mantle in the absence of Evan Nilsson and Enis Unal, has certainly stepped up to the plate. Really good finish for a team that themselves are on a terrific run at the moment. And Newcastle have got to react, because actually they started a little bit sleepily. Ball clipped towards the far post, looking for Semenyo, headed into the air, away by Joel Linton. It drops 5 yards back from the edge of the penalty area, and Semenyo has it now over on the far side. He tries to go on the outside of Livramento, sits to the byline, tries to get a low cross in towards the centre. It's steered away by Tonali, and it's out for a corner far touchline. Another good run. Yeah,
it certainly was. Livramento there, diagonal free kick into the air, and it's Livramento against Semenyo. Semenyo wins it, and then from that resulting situation, Semenyo receives the ball to feet and then goes past Livramento once again.
Semenyo is just getting a word from Stuart Atwell, who's the referee today. Peter Banks, the VAR. He's got a little stamp on his foot there, I think, Semenyo, as they prepare to take the corner from the far side. And it's tossed in by Brooks. It wasn't a great corner, that. Comes back out to Tyler Adams on the edge of the area. Brooks with another low cross, which again is fended away rather easily. And now the counter-attack is on for Newcastle, but Bruno's got a lot of work to do in order to retain possession here. He thinks he was fouled by Tyler Adams. The referee says he wasn't, and play continues, and Bournemouth have got it back again. They've just got to sharpen up a little bit, having found their rhythm recently after an inquest in the aftermath of the defeat to Brentford. They've picked up their intensity, they've looked fitter and sharper, and the press has been well coordinated and snapping into action, but they just haven't got going in this game. 10 minutes in, 1-0 to Bournemouth. Here is Adams to Christie, to Semenyo, far side, back to the halfway line, and Christie again drifting into that left position. He's got Kirkes, who's excellent out there too. He's another very talented acquisition, someone who I think goes down in the plus column of good bit of recruitment.
I'll tell you what they're doing at the moment, Bournemouth. They're knocking the ball around with great confidence, but as you rightly pointed out, they're happy to go from back to front when the opportunity arises. So if you're a Newcastle player, you think, well, I want to go tight, but I do know that every now and then that ball's going to be dropped over my shoulder.
Blackpool taking the lead against Huddersfield. They lead by a 1-0. Blackpool without a win in 9 games at Bloomfield Road. That game in League One. Blackpool in front there, and here Bournemouth in front too. Remember, over on Talksport 2 right now, we've got live coverage of Cardiff against Swansea. Terrific battle down in South Wales. A great derby match that is. It's always feisty.
Just in front of us as well, Sam. Once again, throwing on this side. Hall's taking it just in front of us. And Semenyo has come from the other side of the pitch, and he's 5 yards away from Hall. They're absolutely near it. They've got 9 players all within a radius. And if Newcastle get out, which they nearly did, there's a lot of space elsewhere on the pitch. Now, they've got to find a way of getting past this very aggressive Bournemouth press.
Yep. That's what they're good at. He was known for that when he was the manager in Spain of Rayo Vallecano, Andoni Iraola. And you're listening to Newcastle 0, Bournemouth 1 on Talksport with Sky Sports. Don't forget you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now, like Arsenal versus Aston Villa, live today. Search Now Sports. Ball back all the way to the halfway line, and then via Burn to Dubravka. Hall on the near touchline is immediately squeezed by Brooks and Kluivert. He finds room for Bruno Guimaraes, and then into Isaac, stops the ball, plays it wide to the right. Joel Linton sends it on further. Now it's collected by Murphy on the attack for Newcastle. They come centrally into the middle of the park. Bruno Guimaraes finds Tino Livramento, right angle of the penalty area, just almost overcooked his ball forward, but then it's played back into the penalty area by Bruno Guimaraes. He tries to find Livramento, but it's a little bit too hefty, and it rolls through to the goalkeeper Kepa Arrizabalaga, who has had absolutely zip all to do so far.
No, it shows you the momentum of this game when that is the first touch of the ball that either of Newcastle's fullbacks have had in the opposition's half, and we're 12-13 minutes into the game. They've been penned back in their own half.
Isaac trying to steer the ball forward to Bruno Guimaraes. That was a rather rash challenge by Tyler Adams, and Isaac was definitely not very happy about it. Bruno Guimaraes has gone down. The fourth official is getting it from Andoni Iraola, but it was a hefty challenge from the USA international.
Don't be ridiculous. That was a very good challenge, and the modern day game makes it out to be sort of some sort of life-threatening injury, for God's sake. Dear, oh dear, I thought it was a wonderful challenge, to be honest with you. I may be proved wrong when I see, but all the players come rushing in, and all of a sudden it's as though it's the most nastiest challenge the world's ever seen.
Well, I didn't say it was nasty.
Brilliant.
I said it was hefty.
It was hefty, but for me, it's not a foul. Honestly, it's not. All right, you're laughing at me, you two. There's a generation gap here, and I've just exposed it.
Well, the free kick has been given over on the far side. Stuart Atwell deemed that it was a foul. His judgment is free kick to Newcastle United, 5 yards back from the edge of the penalty area. Byrne and Botman have both come up from the Newcastle defence. Bruno Guimaraes is back on his feet.
This might be a good opportunity for Newcastle. They've certainly got some height here when you compare them man for man against the Bournemouth players.
Absolutely. And here is the ball drifted in towards the near post, away by Ouattara. It wasn't a great delivery, that, from Anthony Gordon, and it's steered away, and Brooks has nabbed it off Lewis Hall again, and now he can send Ouattara through the middle. Ouattara trying to beat Livramento for speed, but Livramento is just as fast, and he gets back into the left fullback position, and then he will be able to clear for Newcastle United. It was good bit of covering from the England fullback there after Newcastle were a little bit exposed once again. Here is Gordon in towards Murphy, now trying to counter-attack and use the space that Bournemouth have left him behind. It's out to the left, and Tonali, who just got it caught under his feet. He takes it wide to the left-hand side. Cook goes across. Tonali keeps it alive. Then Adams comes across and wins it for Bournemouth, and they've got it back before it's become a danger away to our left-hand side.
Yeah, as I say, that last Bournemouth attack, it was fortunate probably that Livramento was the last man with his little bit of pace, just got Newcastle out of trouble.
You're listening to Newcastle, Bournemouth 1, Talksport with Sky Sports, and don't forget that you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now, like Arsenal versus Aston Villa live today. Search Now Sports. Here's Cliver near touchline, trying to take the ball into a wide right position. He sends the ball centrally to Tyler Adams, and then further out to Cook. Back into Adams again. 16 minutes gone on this Saturday lunchtime, with lots of fixtures still to go through this afternoon. Adrian Durham will take you round the grounds from 2:30. We've got live commentary of West Ham United against Crystal Palace on Talksport 2 from 3 o'clock later today in the Premier League. Big game that for Graham Potter. Wants to back up his first victory for West Ham United that he picked up on Wednesday against Fulham. Here is Christie deep inside his own half, guiding it back to Zabani, whipped round the corner by Housen, and Semenyo almost managed to get hold of that, actually ended up playing it off Murphy. I think that came off Semenyo last and could have been a throw-in over on the far side. There was a few supporters that agreed. Christie's gone down the left to try and get on the end of a quick throw. Botman's got a little bit confused. He's given it back to Semenyo. There's lots of space on the edge of the area for Brooks if they can find him. Semenyo decides to go left instead. Christie with the cross into the near post, away by Botman. And Newcastle are under pressure here. They can't get out. Another deep cross into the box goes over everyone's head. Brooks chases it into the right wing position, and Anthony Gordon allows it to go out of play, and Newcastle try to get it moving once again. He probably rushed that throw when he didn't need to there, Anthony Gordon. Almost put Newcastle under pressure again, Stuart.
Well, I think he might have took it early on the grounds that if he hadn't, Bournemouth would have got their whole team across into a grid of about 15 by 15 and absolutely smothered them in their own corner flag. But Bournemouth are not giving Newcastle any time to breathe on the ball, and vice versa on the other side of it. Newcastle can't get anywhere near Bournemouth, and they look very comfortable in possession.
Joel Linton wins a header above Adams and Christie, and then Adams again brings down Bruno Guimaraes. Bruno then decides to have a word with Stuart Atwell. Not advisable. Shouldn't ask for cards or even point out that's a couple of fouls from Adams, because that will get you in trouble more than anybody else. Here's the heartbeat of the team. Played half against Bromley last weekend, only half of it, and then played in midweek against Wolverhampton Wanderers, Bruno Guimaraes. I think they need to just get him on the ball a little bit more.
This will be interesting. Newcastle got a straight free kick. They pushed everyone up. I just thought the counter might be on.
Aim towards Byrne. One by Joel Linton on the edge of the penalty area. Sets it down the right for Murphy, whose cross hits the body of Kirkes, and then I think came back off Murphy and went behind and away for a goal kick away to our left-hand side.
Yeah, as I say, they're good opportunities there. It was a free kick in their own half, Newcastle, and they had a great opportunity to toss the ball, albeit straight, into the box. and if not win first, get second. But Bournemouth are all over it, to be fair to them. Won first and second contact.
No goals in any of the Championship games so far today. Over on Talksport 2, Cardiff against Swansea, Millwall, Hull and Plymouth Queen's Park Rangers. In League One, just the one goal so far. It's come at Bloomfield Road, where Blackpool are desperate for a victory. Steve Bruce's men 1-0 up over Huddersfield. And in League Two, it's still goalless in both the games that kicked off at 12:30, including a first game in charge of Gillingham for John Coleman. Here is Dango Ouattara down the left-hand side, trying to get into a left-wing position. Burns slides in, plays it against Ouattara, and it goes out for a goal kick away to our right. Ouattara is complaining, suggesting that should have been a corner. The referee has given a goal kick.
Newcastle dealing in sort of morsels at this moment in time, and probably it was actually a corner. They're dealing in morsels, and the biggest cheer that we've had at St James's so far is a tackle by Dan Burn in the far corner flag, and they're hoping for a bit more than that.
Well, they certainly came here hoping for a bit more than that, having won 9 straight games in all competitions, but they're behind here. Here is Tonali down the left, being chased by Cliver into the left wing position. He needs a bit of support, but there was none forthcoming. Cliver has nabbed it, but it's won back by Tonali, and he's found Gordon, and before Gordon can unleash a ball into Isaac, it's cleared by Zabani, but only as far as Botman, who wins it back, sends it to Bruno Guimaraes midway inside opposition territory. It's now collected by Murphy. The Brazilian has it once again. He's got Joel Linton to his left. He moves forward, just plays it to Hall. Hall, who's operating in Bournemouth's half of the field, goes backwards to Burn, and Newcastle have to reset after winning the ball high up. They've had to just be a little bit patient and come back out again to go back in. They're trailing by a goal to nil here. Cook with a little push in the back of Gordon. That's going to be a free kick 10 yards inside Bournemouth territory.
Yeah.
And they've done it quickly, and it's been helped on towards Joel Linton, who set Gordon away. Gordon down the left, produced across. Isaac with the first touch, sets it back. Guimaraes, then Joel Linton trying to bend one. He leant back and he got underneath the ball, and he's elevated that high into the Leesy's end, but that was the best chance that they've had so far, Newcastle. Lewis Cook complaining about the rapidity in which the free kick was taking. He's saying he wasn't back in position when that action happened. The referee just explaining to him why he allowed it to be taken fast, as the fourth official is doing the same to the Bournemouth coaching staff down in front of us.
Yeah, we've got a problem for Semenyo, who's down at the moment. The referee not called the trainer on, but I think he'll have to, and they'll hope this isn't anything that's too serious.
Well, Semenyo, who scored in 2 games in a row before today, and has been a real live wire on that left-hand side. They don't want to lose him, as well as the other issues that they've had in terms of injury. And he did actually pull up, if you remember, earlier on, before they were taking a corner after a collision inside the penalty area. I thought he got a bit of a stamp on his toe, and I wonder if that's still hampering him. Remember, tomorrow, Leeds Sheffield Wednesday is live on Talksport 2. Neil Redfern and Nigel Adley will bring a commentary of that. Sunday session with Adrian Perry-Groves, Mickey Gray and Adrian Clark are on from 1:30. We've got West Ham Chelsea in the Women's Super League a little bit later on in the day. That's on Talksport 2. Monday night football comes from Stamford Bridge, where Chelsea take on Wolves. Tuesday night, we've got Monaco against Aston Villa from 5:45 on Talksport 2, as the Champions League really starts to hot up. I was looking at the Champions League table the other day. I don't know if you're aware of it, but in third position Arsenal, there's 3 points separating them and 19th place Club Brugge. 3 points.
Well, it's fair to say this format's been outstanding. Now, I weren't sure at the start of the season, but I've always been open-minded and said, well, let's have a look at it. But you think it's been a success?
Well, it looks like that way, doesn't it? I mean, I think the final day is going to tell us everything. That Wednesday night, when all of the games kick off at the same time, when you've got everybody playing. And depending on what happens this week, obviously, if you've got loads of teams that are trying to squeeze into that top 24, it's going to be a cracking last evening of football, isn't it?
And the importance of finishing in the top echelon, to the top 8
top
as well.
8, to get through without playing those two-legged playoffs, where you could end up bumping into someone like Manchester City, PSG or Real Madrid, who aren't in currently at the top 8.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Newcastle 0, Bournemouth 1. Newcastle got designs on getting back in the Champions League, but they'll have to keep winning games, and they're not winning this one. Isaac chasing down the left-hand side. Across comes Housen, heads the ball out, prods it out for a throw-in on this near side. Collected by Isaac now, who just travels infield and then does a little lovely trick to get past Brooks in the midpoint of the Bournemouth half. It's then switched elegantly by Joel Linton out to Livramento, who's crossed into the box. He's aimed towards Bruno Guimaraes. He's headed away by Christie, and it just spins out by the corner flag and away for a set piece for Newcastle United.
Yeah, it was a poor cross, I've got to say. No loft at all on it, and it easily cut out without even a jump, to be honest. And it might take a set play for Newcastle to get back in this game. They need something. We're 20 odd minutes in at the moment, and to be honest with you, Bournemouth have been by far the better side in every element of what they're trying to achieve.
24 gone. Here is the corner, taken far side by Anthony Gordon, a right-footed outswinger, but again, it's not a great delivery. That hits the first player and then comes back out to him on this near side. He then tries to play it against Christie. It's another corner. Natalie Aspinall, the assistant over on the far side, was pretty decisive in giving that Newcastle's way. And it goes out for Lewis Hall to take the corner over on the far side this time. So maybe a slightly lofted delivery into the middle area, and Gordon just trying to cause Kepa or either Balaga a few problems in front of the goal away to our left. Hall, two arms in the air, waiting to deliver, left-footed. It's an arcing one in towards Bruno Guimaraes. It's a brilliant header and a brilliant goal. And Bruno Guimaraes just peels off the defender, connects with the corner kick from Lewis Hall and guides it into the far corner. Kepa Arrizabalaga went towards the ball, got something on it, I think, but couldn't stop it from sneaking in the corner, and Newcastle United are back in the game. It's Newcastle United 1, Bournemouth 1.
Well, this is the nature of football. I think a really poor goal for Bournemouth to concede. The ball tossed in the box, marking poor. Bruno didn't even get off the floor, planted his feet, guided the ball, and well, the goalkeeper should have done better. I think the defending should have been better, and as we said before, sometimes it might take a set play for you to get a foothold in the game and relive a bit of confidence in your group, because the beauty of our profession, Sam, you think this game and a team coming in with a run of form with Newcastle has just gone out the window. Now they look a better opposition as such.
Joel Linton squeezes it out to the left. Gordon on the run, plays it out to the left, and it's delivered by Hall, headed behind by Zabarnyi, and it's out for another corner, and that's changed the mood inside St James's Park. They've woken up finally, Newcastle United. They looked menacing as they came forward there with the ball at their feet and sliding through the Bournemouth midfield. Played out to the left, the cross came in, Zabarnyi stuck it out, and it's Gordon to take the corner on this near side. Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 1, live on Talksport this lunchtime. Bruno Guimaraes with the goal, only his second goal of the season. It's his second header of the season. Here is Tonali on to Gordon, try to nudge that in towards the near post, but then it comes back out to Murphy, whose strike is headed away. Tonali will keep it alive inside the area. He'll flick it towards goal, but it's a little bit wild from Tonali, and it goes over the top of the crossbar.
I'm astounded that Newcastle have got themselves back in the game, put the ball in the box, straightforward header in the goal. Next corner, which has come straight after, they've taken it short. The ball's hardly even arrived in the box, if at all. Yeah. Why wouldn't you put it straight back in the box and ask another question of not the tallest of Bournemouth defences?
Well, you'd fancy Newcastle United to score a few goals tonight, because as you've already pointed out, or this lunchtime, you pointed out that the height difference between those attacking the ball from Newcastle and those trying to defend it with teal shirts on. And Newcastle scored 18 goals in their previous 6 league games before today, and they're already on the score sheet today. And in that time, actually, they've only conceded 1 goal. The only player to score past their defence before today was Dominic Solanke. But they conceded an early goal here to Kluivert, and they've fought their way back, and they are back level at 1-1. And they have possession again. Gordon into Guimaraes, and then on to Joel Linton, who's challenged by Dean Housley, who read it brilliantly, nabbed it, then played it forward, found Kluivert. He in turn gives it to Brooks, back to Kluivert again down the right-hand side, just twisting and turning towards the edge of the area. Left-footed ball into the box, which is away by Livramento under pressure. It bounced inside the D and then headed further clear by Bruno Guimaraes, and then Joel Linton is dragged to the floor by Christie. It's going to be a free kick just in front of that 18-yard box that Newcastle are defending. And again, Andoni Iraola is not happy. Jason Tindall is out on the edge of the technical area, and Iraola is pointing at Jason Tindall, telling the fourth official, who is Dean Whitestone, that he is being over-aggressive.
I've got to say, Sam, like, the game's brilliant. The game's taking care of itself, but every time we get a slight pull or slight foul, it's like the Spanish Inquisition out there with the sets of players and obviously the coaching staffs.
Yeah, I mean, Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall, they are staying in their technical area, whereas Andoni Iraola and his team are sort of progressing further and further down the touchline every time that there is a contentious moment. Ball hook cleared by Byrne, it's out on the near touchline. Jason Tindall returns it this time to Lewis Cook. Of course, both Eddie Howe and Jason Tindall will know a lot of these Bournemouth players because at one stage they were the Bournemouth manager. Eddie Howe for very many years, Jason Tindall for 7 months, before reuniting here at Newcastle United. Half an hour gone in the game. It's Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 1 in the sunshine in the northeast.
I'll tell you what, I've been really disappointed with both fullbacks of Newcastle.
Yeah.
You know, Livramento and Hall, they've been put on the back foot, their confidence has been shaken, and they're nowhere near the players they should be.
Them, isn't it?
Very much so. Their better work, to be fair, is in the opposition's half, and they've rarely been in the opposition's half.
Here is Zibani forward to Brooks. Brooks being chased around by Joel Linton. Then brilliant again from Zibani out towards this near side. Hall's gone a wandering and Cook's come forward and he's found Dongo Ouattara inside the area trying to get away from Byrne. Still Ouattara trying to turn and shoot, blocked by Byrne. Comes out to Adams and sent out towards the left hand side. Kirkesh with the first time ball into the box. Tries to find Semenyo. Semenyo trying to trick his way down to the byline. A little back heel finds Kirkesh again in the left wing position. Now Adams with a chance to float it towards the far post, and it almost caught out Dubravka, who was backpedaling and watching it sail past the left hand post was a moment of relief for the Slovakian goalkeeper.
Yeah, he's whipped it in there, and for a moment the body language of Dubravka suggested he thought that was sailing in the top corner. But I'm really enjoying this, the Bournemouth, how they mix the game up here. Really confident in possession, can play through the thirds, not afraid to turn you around with great passes in behind as well.
Oh, Newcastle again, cheap, giving the ball away deep inside their own half. This time Dan Byrne was given it back by Hall, and then he sort of whipped it through the 18-yard box, and it went right through the other side and out of play and away for a Bournemouth throw in a rather sort of aggressive position. 1-1 the score here. Ball about to be thrown in from the far side, and it's going to be Milos Kerkez to launch it near post, away by Joel Linton, further away by Isaac, but he sent it wide. Oh, they've won it back here, Newcastle, and there was a silly foul by Kerkez, and he knows that it was a foul. He apologised straight away. Going to be a free kick, and I think the Newcastle fans are complaining that they feel as if Bruno Guimaraes is being targeted.
To be fair, as I say, once again, the crowd come to the party. They're hooing and hawing. It's a free kick, no more. Stuart lives near me, actually, the manager, so I better keep on his good side. The
referee?
Yeah.
Stuart Atwell?
Yeah, his wife used to work for the FA, so we worked together. So.
Oh, there you are. Here is Cliver down the right-hand side to the edge of the box. Christie with a chance to shoot. He does that, but he miss-kicked it, and it went behind and away for a goal kick away to our right-hand side. Christie thought it was going to be a corner. Stuart Atwell didn't.
Yeah, as I say, it looked like it skimmed off. I mean, the shot was either woefully bad or it was good defending. And it was good defending.
Yes, you better tell him that when you go and see him later for
I'll make notes.
A glass of bubbly. Here is Lewis Hall on the near touchline, looking to throw the ball down towards Joel Linton. It comes to Tonali instead, and he turns away on halfway. Bournemouth knew what to expect coming up against an Eddie Howe team. He took them from the depths of League Two to the highs of the Premier League. He is the man that led that club into its most successful era. He's threatening to do the same with Newcastle, League Cup semi-finalists. They've got a 2-goal lead over Arsenal, alive in the FA Cup, aiming to reach the top 4. It's certainly the most successful they've been since Sir Bobby was at the helm. But they've had to come from behind here to level things up at St James's Park. But now they're threatening to break, and they've got Bruno Guimaraes playing Murphy into the centre circle. He's clipped the ball high into opposition territory, and it's taken down elegantly by Isaac, who's then fed Gordon edge of the penalty area. Reacting well was Lewis Cook to get it clear, and then Kirkes will run it over on the far side, out of play, but he might actually keep it in just about and get Bournemouth on the attack here. Ouattara trying to feed it down the touchline, blocked by Tonali, who's up and down brilliantly, and it's back with Livramento and Newcastle United, 1-1.
It's interesting, when I worked for the under-21s, we looked at throw-ins, and I think there's somewhere in the region of about 20 odd per team per game, and the amount that they're basically restarts, and Areola looks to me as though he's looked at that as well and thought to himself, you know what, if we can get the restarts of the opposition from throw-ins and turn that ball over, which they have done pretty well in this game, haven't they?
They certainly have. Tonali has just fouled Tyler Adams over on the far touchline, and that's going to be a free kick just short of the halfway line as Doncaster take the lead against Gillingham in League 2 in John Coleman's first game in charge down at Priestfield. Only goal in the EFL prior to that one was the one for Blackpool, who lead against Huddersfield at home. 0-0 in the South Wales derby over on Talksport 2, which you can get via our app. If you haven't got it yet, certainly well worth getting it. There's all sorts of podcasts available on there. You can listen to all of the other stations. There's an opportunity to watch the programmes now via the Watch Live tab. There's loads of the best videos and news that we've got for you. All on the TalkSport app is essential to have. Just download it from the App Store or the Google Play Store, and you've got a world of entertainment at your fingertips. Well, we've got 10 minutes to go before half-time, and it's Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 1. I think it was fascinating listening to Eddie Howe in the build-up to this game. Everyone else sort of revelling in the headiness of the winning run, but he is details obsessed. And he was warning yesterday about the dangers lurking around the corner, ensuring that no one gets too comfortable or dares switch off. I think he would have been very unhappy with the first 25 minutes of this game.
Yeah, and a lot of that is down to not just his team not playing well. I don't think they've been allowed to play well. I think the ball's been dominated by Bournemouth, and out of possession, Bournemouth have been outstanding. They've pressed, they've gone that man-for-man press and made it very difficult for Newcastle to play out. And from throw-ins, they've been swamped to either side of the pitch. They've been swamped by probably 8 or 9 players in and around that ball, and said, we're not going to let you get a foothold in this game and get a passing game going. And they've been brilliant at it.
Well, we all knew that they were going to play like that, and so did Newcastle United. Is it just very difficult to stop?
It is. If teams are intent on overloading areas of the pitch, sometimes what you've got to do is just throw it for a volley and just volley it into space in many ways.
Right, and just hope that someone's there to chase it.
Well, exactly. You've got to say, well, if they've got all their players on this side of the pitch, there's got to be room elsewhere.
Here is Tyler Adams as Bournemouth come on the offensive again. 37 gone now. 1-1 on TalkSport. West Ham Palace a little bit later on TalkSport 2. Ball into the box by Christie, headed away by Dan Burn. Tall and muscular, he heads the ball into the path of Joel Linton, who starts to stride forward, wants it back from Lewis Hall, is not going to get it. Gordon dropping deep to pick it up in the centre circle instead for Newcastle. Looks up, he's got Murphy out wide to his right, then has to weave his way past Cliver, feeds Bruno Guimaraes, who in turn nudges it on to Murphy. Murphy's cross into the box is a poor one, but it comes back to Bruno on the edge of the penalty area. He keeps it alive, gets it into the box towards Joel Linton, who turns and shoots, takes a deflection into the air, bounces in front of Kepa Arrizabalaga, who gobbles the ball up and will clear it away for Bournemouth in that bright yellow jersey. I think he'll be a little bit disappointed with the goal that he conceded. He joined us this week, Kepa, and he has been jet-setting, visiting his newborn twins over the course of the last couple of weeks, trying to play family life and juggle a busy footballing schedule. His long kick upfield has just been helped on, and the foul has been given against Cliver for a push on Botman, and Andoni Iraola again springs up rather. I mean, he's almost as aggressive as the Bournemouth press.
Yeah, what's happened just then is Botman was fouled. Clivert's gone into him and bodied him and fouled him, but the referee's played on instantly, and then Livramento's made a mistake which could have been costly, but it was a foul, so he's pulled it back.
Ball flicked forward by Dubravka, headed away by Cook. It's dropped into the middle of the park, and again it's Bournemouth who are quickest to it. Brooks gets it up towards Ouattara. It's nabbed by Joel Linton, but Ouattara's still come away with it, and he's run through the centre circle now, and he's got an option to play it left towards Kluivert. He's gone right instead. Cook's got loads of space on this near side. Cook now has it, right footed, crosses the ball into the centre. Ouattara with a header over the top of the crossbar. He was leaning and striving to stretch to that ball. He was never going to be able to get it down on target, but again, Newcastle exposed.
And sometimes it's the little things. I've been up at Newcastle and seen them man for man win tackles, win headers, win everything. Today we've had a straight free kick up the pitch and Cook has out-jumped Joe Linton. Can't happen. Semenya's out-jumped Livramento. Can't happen. And all those little things erode what you're trying to achieve.
Just wonder what they will do at half-time here. The Newcastle coaching staff will be, I think, a little bit concerned with what they've seen in the opening 40 minutes of this game, and they've given the ball away again. It's picked up by Kluivert near side after Adams had nabbed it for Bournemouth. Christie, still Newcastle just can't get it clear. Joel Linton jumps into a tackle, does well, and now Gordon is away through the centre circle. He's got space out wide for Murphy. He's gone centrally to Isaac, but the ball wasn't on. It's cut out by Zabarnyi, only as far as Livramento. Livramento forward now. Over on the far side, Murphy finds Bruno Guimaraes. He's 5 yards short of the penalty area into Gordon. He's inside the box, left-footed, in towards the near post, and it flashes past that near post. It took a flick on the way through, and it's out for a corner.
Yeah, as I say, for one moment Kepa was struggling on his near post there. Gordon just opened the goal up, but a good defending, to be fair. Got enough on it just to deflect it wide, and another opportunity for Hall to put the ball in the box and, well, maybe even take the lead. Dare we say it? They don't deserve it.
Corner over on the far side. Byrne waiting for the delivery. It's a high one, this one, towards Botman at the far post. Heads it against Cook, goes out and away for another corner. The latest odds available from Betfair, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage. Right now you can get Newcastle to win at 5-4 on. You can back the draw at 9-4 or back Bournemouth to win at 7-2. That's all thanks to Betfair, who are paying out winning bets at 90 minutes with 90-minute guarantee. Terms and conditions do apply. Here is the corner on the near side as we approach half-time on Talksport. Right-footed from Bruno Guimaraes towards the far post, and coming in at that back post was Botman, just lurking with intent. And Kepa Arrizabalaga went up there, and it went over the top of his hand. And if Botman actually had been able to connect with that, there might have been trouble for Bournemouth.
Yeah, I think the referee's seen an infringement there, and I think he's pulled it up against Botman, potentially at the far post. I'll tell you what I'm disappointed with. The level of I don't know, finishes in and around the box, crosses into the box. I think in the modern day game,
final balls have been poor.
Really poor. Not just in today's game, but in general, I think. I mean, we were here, well, I was certainly here a few weeks ago, and there was a cross into the box. Fantastic cross by Gordon and a finish by Isaac with his head.
That was the Arsenal game that we were here for, yeah.
Absolutely magnificent, and I'd like to see that a little bit more regular. We've had Semenya's miss and Joe Linton's miss were poor misses, not hitting the target.
Well, we haven't really seen much wing play from Murphy and Gordon at all, have we, in the game?
Haven't. No.
And I think that's probably because Bournemouth have played so well. Here is Gordon, now trying to drop deep to play the ball centrally for Bruno Guimaraes. Now Joel Linton takes it on. He's got Tonali alongside him. Gordon peels out towards the left-hand side, and now an opportunity to cross, but everybody in blue shirts is very, very deep, and they can't squeeze it to Bruno Guimaraes. And now the counter is on, and it's being led by Kluivert, and he's quickly going through the middle of the pitch, and he tries to find Ouattara. Doesn't come off for him, but bounces kindly for David Brooks. Brooks takes over, gets into the area, left-footed cross. It's a deep one, too deep. And it'll float out of play and out for a goal kick away to our right-hand side. Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 1 on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has 450 branches with all the vehicles your business needs.
It's amazing you watch players. I was here for that Arsenal game, and Hall played against Saka, and he was outstanding that day, and I thought he's played his way into the England squad. And today he's playing like a frightened kitten. He's going nowhere near Brooks. He's scared stiff of engaging him tight, and he's been put on the back foot early on in the game, and he's not recovered from it, to be fair. And you know, he's got to, for the long-term development of his career, he cannot be boom and bust like that.
Yeah, I spotted it really early in the game that Brooks had just got the beating of him, and since then he just sort of, I don't know.
He's playing with fear.
Yeah, looked a little bit scared about the whole situation, and he's gone wandering a couple of times, and they've played him behind him, and they've given the ball away again here, and Ouattara has fed Kluivert inside the penalty area, and Kluivert has nabbed it under the goalkeeper and in, and it's a goal all of Newcastle's own making. They've given away possession, and Bournemouth have pounced. They've got a second goal, and they are in front once again just before half-time. Justin Kluivert at the double, and Bournemouth are in front, and deservedly so. Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 2.
Well, it's been an absolute superb performance this half from Bournemouth. I've got to say, Newcastle are not at it at the moment. They've been put on the back foot from the first minute. Their passing game's not great, Newcastle. They lost possession very cheaply there. Ouattara's managed to find a nice pass inside Hall, and basically a very comfortable finish. Just opened up his body and just stroked it in. Kluivert once again just stroked it in. No composure, no panic, and in it went, and rightly so. 2-1. I think 2-1 to Bournemouth flatters Newcastle a little bit, I've got to say.
Well, Newcastle were hoping to get in level at half-time and readjust and reassess, but they've conceded for the second time this afternoon. It's only the third time they've conceded in the Premier League since the 7th of December. I think that sort of gives you an indication that today they have been off colour.
Yeah, they certainly have. I mean, Eddie could go in at half-time and take maybe 4 or 5 players off. You know, he needs an impact from his team. He's been a frustrated figure from the first moments in this game.
Well, Newcastle have a free kick on halfway. There's 4 minutes of added time. It is worth pointing out that Newcastle have taken 12 points from losing positions this season. Only Manchester City and Liverpool have taken more. And they've got to come from behind here. Here is Livramento into the penalty area, looking for Isak, who has hardly had a kick in the game. Cleared away by Dongo Ouattara. Taken down by Hall, and he's made a mistake, and Kluivert is away. He's racing clear. He's got support to his left. Brooks is arriving. Brooks on the edge of the penalty area, now surrounded by black and white shirts, driven wide. He plays the ball against Hall, who just about recovered, and it goes behind and away for a corner over on the far side. But Lewis Hall there, well, he got caught out completely as the ball came back towards him just short of the halfway line. It went over his shoulder. He was facing his own goal. He miscontrolled it. Kluivert put pressure on him and then ran away with the ball, outpaced him and got into the Newcastle half of the field. And then Brooks just couldn't take the advantage of what was a really good counter-attack.
Yep, you've seen the sum total there from Lewis Hall of his confidence that's been shaken early on. Took the wrong option there, trying to pull that down. Should have just helped it back where it come from, to be honest.
Corner far side, right at the end of the first half. We're in the second of 4 added minutes here on Talksport. Right-footed delivery towards the far post. Zabarnyi was there. It's headed on by Christie and into the arms of Dubravka. And he wanted to release it quickly. There was no one to release it to. Isak now showing for it, wants to get forward. He goes bounding towards halfway. He's got Gordon down the left, and now he goes on a run through the centre. Gordon into the penalty area. Goes on the outside, Zabarnyi, low cross into the box. Cleared away by Adams, who was filling in brilliantly. Cook trying to escape. Joe Linton trying to chase him out of the box. It goes up the other end again, and Byrne now in a foot race with Dongo Ouattara, and it's all the way back to Dubravka. It has been an entertaining game, hasn't it?
Oh, it's been a super game of football, I've got to say. It's had a little bit of everything. Newcastle overwhelming favourites going into the game, but football, you've got to earn the right in every match, and this game is certainly typical of that statement.
Here on the near touchline, the ball with Lewis Hall. He sent it wide to Gordon, a chance to cross into the box. He can keep it in here. Joe Linton arriving, and again Gordon's delivery is blocked by Lewis Cook. I mean, you'd be pretty disappointed, wouldn't you, if you got him into that position only to see him hit the first man who was only 7 yards away.
Well, it's been the first time he's been in behind Cook, you know, in a situation you thought might be quite interesting for Newcastle at the start of the game, but he's hardly had a kick, Gordon, to be fair.
Here is Bruno Guimaraes down the far touchline, tries to get away from Christie. Again, Christie's just sharper to it, and it just don't look right, Newcastle. It almost looks as if this is an early kickoff and the alarm's gone off at the wrong time.
Yeah, it certainly looks that way. And I remember against Arsenal, Gordon played on the opposite side, and that cross coming. I wonder whether it's worth swapping them over. Eddie's got to try and change things, certainly at half-time.
Well, they've got a few options on the bench as the free kick's taken short and down the right-hand side into Isaac, then Murphy, back to Isaac again. We're into the final minute of the added 4. Isaac trying to tease his way into the box. Botman sees it back towards Livramento. They're still going wide. Bit of frustration as the ball comes into the box eventually. In towards Byrne. Doesn't get a clean header on it. And it flicks across the face of goal. And it'll be away by Brooks towards the far side. The one thing that they will take encouragement from is that there have been chances. Even that scenario, there was an opportunity there for someone to get on the ball. But it didn't quite happen. And against Chelsea, they gave up loads of chances, did Bournemouth in that game, and really Chelsea should have put them to bed before they were allowed to come back into it. So they do give up chances. Here is Joel Linton into Gordon. He thought he was fouled, referee didn't, and then there is a free kick that's going to go the way of Joel Linton. There's a bit of afters, Kluivert involved in it. The Spanish bench are up screaming. Kluivert's gone down. Joel Linton's pushing Kirkes. Isaac is there as well. Gordon's down in the middle. Stuart Atwell's waiting for this to sort of diffuse before he intervenes. Eddie Howe's just standing looking on. Jason Tyndall's actually behaving himself, just bellowing from the near touchline. And eventually, after things have calmed down, Stuart Atwell will proclaim his decision. He has got his yellow card out here, and he is waiting to distribute it to someone. He hasn't decided yet who it is he is going up. Oh, it's Tyler Adams. Oh dear, I think he's got that wrong. Joel Linton's got the yellow card, so has Tyler Adams. I think he's got it wrong. Oh, I don't know, he's now booking Kluivert as well.
No, so, I think he's booked Kirkes for his involvement.
No, it's Adams is booked.
For his involvement afterwards with Joe Linton, I would say. But
well, Adams can't believe it, and he's gone over and booked Kluivert. I can't work out whether or not that. I mean, Adams is absolutely apoplectic. He cannot believe. Yeah, maybe it's for the foul on Gordon, which wasn't given. Now Kluivert's got one as well, so we've got 3 bookings. And Stuart Atwell now explaining to Kluivert why that decision has gone against Newcastle, against Bournemouth, and the free kick actually now being taken from inside, but he didn't stop the game when that happened beforehand. He stopped the game when it was a foul on Joel Linton on this near side.
I didn't think he saw a free kick in the first challenge.
No,
he played on from there, and I think for me, after you play on, the only booking that you need to do in that occasion would have been Joe Linton for his foul. But there you go.
Well, Joe Linton has been booked, Kluivert has been booked, and so has Tyler Adams. So 3 bookings in the space of a couple of seconds, and a last minute of the first half free kick for Newcastle. Hall delivers it to the far post. It's headed down, comes back to Tonali, and it's a great save by Kepa Arrizabalaga at the near post. Across the face of goal it goes, and before that attack can finish, the referee blows the half-time whistle, much to the irate nature of the Newcastle players and the Newcastle crowd. Well, they were still on the attack because the ball had just been parried away by Kepa Arrizabalaga. It was on the left-hand side as Bournemouth look at it. The Newcastle right wing, they were going to re-centre the ball, but the referee called time. So it is half-time. And Bournemouth, who haven't won at Newcastle since the current Toon boss Eddie Howe was the Bournemouth manager, are in with a big shout of doing so today. Much better first half performance from them than in midweek. Much better performance than Newcastle have managed so far. 2 goals from Kluivert, 1 from Bruno Guimaraes at half-time. Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 2.
Well, what a cracking 45 minutes of football that was. In fact, longer than that, because we played about 8 minutes worth of additional time, and it was only supposed to be 4. And actually, substitute Kieran Trippier is following Stuart Atwell down the tunnel currently, remonstrating with him, because what we just saw just then was Tonali's volley parried by Kepa Arrizabalaga, but then the whistle blows, and that's not what the referee is supposed to do, which is why you're hearing the boos here from the St James's Park fans.
If time's up, time's up. It's as simple as that. I know there's a frustration. I think there's a general frustration around the stadium with the performance of the team and how well Bournemouth has done, have put Newcastle on the back foot. They've been outstanding, Bournemouth. They really have. deserves to be more goals in front within this game, I believe. But Eddie's got some work to do at half-time. Whether he'll make changes or not, who knows?
Do you know what? I feel like he's going to have to. I've been watching Lewis Hall. Right from the minute, you immediately noticed that he looked nervous against David Brooks. Got beaten for pace twice. I've watched him remonstrating with the bench. I've also watched him having an argument with Anthony Gordon. They don't seem to have a pairing going down the left-hand side at all at the moment. There's something not quite right.
Well, both fullbacks for Newcastle, who predominantly are very good at going forward, have had no impact in the opposition half whatsoever. They've been put on the back foot by their wide players, and they failed to recover from that early on. And the only thing I would say in Newcastle's favour, when Bournemouth do go forward, the front four are up there, and on the odd occasion when the ball's broke into midfield, there's been a lot of room in midfield, and Bournemouth have had to chase back. But Newcastle haven't found that final pass or ball out wide and good cross in the box to exploit it. But at this moment in time, there's only one team in this game, and one team look like winning it, and it's not the favourites going into the game.
Most definitely not, and actually they could have had more goals, Bournemouth, if they'd been more clinical. Ouattara's had a couple of close range efforts that he's not managed to score from, but Justin Kluivert has been absolutely fantastic, I thought.
Yeah, his finishes have been brilliant. He's not snatched at the finishes, he's just stroked them into the bottom corner. They used to say that about the old legend Jimmy Greaves, just pass the ball in the net. That's exactly what he's done. And we've seen other players, Semenyo for one, try to whip the lever off the ball and put it in the stand. The same with Joe Linton early on. All you've got to do is pass it in the net.
And actually, Dubravka gave him a little bit of a hand for that second goal that put Bournemouth ahead, because it went right under his body. He didn't get low enough quick enough, did he? Not that I'm a goalkeeper, but, with my critical eye, I'm thinking maybe he could have done better with that.
Well, more importantly, his team let him down in front of him, to be fair, giving the ball away. Really good press, by the way, from Bournemouth. They've done that extremely well. They pressed not just from back to front in squeezing Newcastle, but side to side as well, as we picked up on these throw-ins. They've had 8 players around the thrower for Newcastle, and said, you're not getting out of these situations, we're going to make it difficult for you. And they've been outstanding, I've got to say. I'm really, really impressed with them.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed that first half of football. Fingers crossed for a quality second half coming out as well. Let's see whether either manager makes any changes. Of course, just kids on the bench for Andoni Iraola, so he needs all of his players to stay fit for this second half. And the 1,800 Bournemouth fans who've made the long journey up from the south coast, up high in the top corner of the Leazes End, are loving life, even if some of them might have had a very, very early alarm clock this morning for their journey up here. Over on Talksport 2 right now in the Championship, it's Cardiff 0, Swansea 0 in the South Wales derby. Elsewhere, goalless between Millwall and Hull City, and Plymouth and QPR as well. In League One, it's Peterborough United 0, Leyton Orient 0 as well. Blackpool, though, are 2 goals up against Huddersfield Town, who are unbeaten in the league since the 1st of October. That's under threat right now. And in League 2, Carlisle United 0, Bradford City 0, and Doncaster Rovers are away at Gillingham. They are a goal up against Gillingham. John Coleman with his first game in charge there. Here at St James's Park, though, a cracker is Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 2. Second half action coming next here on Talksport.
Game day exclusive on Talksport with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games, available with no contract, on now. Like Arsenal versus Aston Villa live today. Search Now Sports, 18+, stream via internet, terms apply.
Want a day off deciding what to eat? Sit back, relax, and let us do the thinking for you. And the cooking, and the cleaning. From salmon fillet Mondays to fish and chips Fridays. IKEA family members can try a different £3 dish of the day every weekday in store. IKEA, the wonderful everyday. T's and C's and exclusions apply. Find out more at ikea.co.uk.
The transfer window is open, so let the chaos begin. Get the ultimate football coverage with the Sun's free pull-out Goals. With the best writers pitchside for in-depth match reports, it's all about goals. And with unrivaled news from the Premier League to League 2, it has to be goals. Stay up to date on all the latest football action. Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday, only in the Sun.
You don't just check in to a village hotel. You work out. You jump in. You play on. you tuck in and drink up. Village Hotels, 33 locations with everything under one roof. A huge gym with pool and great membership opportunities, and a buzzing pub and grill with delicious food, ice-cold beers and live sport. Check out villagehotels.com and work out, stay, meet and play.
$1.29 at McDonald's gets you a mini Oreo McFlurry. $1.29 on a big night out gets you...
Sorry, no trainers.
McDonald's Saver Menu. Actually get your money's worth. From 11 a.m. Price and participation may vary. Price varies on delivery, subject to availability.
January can be tough. You've had Christmas and New Year's, and just remembered you've agreed to do dry January. But at least there's Screwfix's New Year deals. Save £90 on the DeWalt Brushless Twin Pack, now $159.99. And get 25% off the Turbo Gold Grab Pack, now £18.74. Screwfix have everything you need for the new year. On the app, online or in-store. Offer in 2nd Feb. T's and C's apply.
At Betfair, we believe that to play different, you need the right tools. The boots, the world-class tactics, the science-backed nutrition. The pros have their tools, and with Betfair, so do you. Our safer gambling tools work just like the right pair of boots, designed to keep you on top of your game. Open the Betfair app to equip yourself so you can bet at your best. Betfair. Play different.
18 plus, begambleaware.org.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Watching the big game cozied up in the snug. Balmy summer nights with the kids playing on the lawn.
We're playing real-life football!
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
Game day exclusive on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes. So if you've got a plan, we've got a van.
Game day. Aria Gold Award winner of Best Sports Coverage 2024.
Your Saturday pleasure multiplier.
Oh, it's in!
Game day exclusive
On Talksport.
This is Game Day exclusive on Talksport. Faye Carruthers, Stuart Pearson, Sam Matterface with you. Half-time here at St James's Park. Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 2. Justin Kluivert put Andoni Iraiola's side ahead after 6 minutes with a lovely finish into the far corner. Bruno Guimaraes equalised on 25 minutes with a flicked header from Lewis Hall's corner before Kluivert scored his 10th of the season just before half-time. Tensions as well towards the end of the half. Some tasty tackles flying in. So it's set up for a cracking second half. And I wonder what that first 45 minutes has done to the odds. Let's get the latest from Betfair, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage.
Odds update on TalkSport with Betfair. Get a completely free ACCA or bet builder on football this weekend. Opt-in and previous deposit required. Max free bet varies from £1 to £10 per customer. Minimum odds and T's and C's apply. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Alex Boyce from Betfair is with us again. How's it looking, Alex?
Oh, well, it was such an electric start from Bournemouth, wasn't it? Semenyo probably should have scored even before Kluivert opened the scoring, and we mentioned both of those players before the games and the great seasons they're having. So, look, Justin Kluivert was as big as 12-1 to score first, by the way, and it has come 20 years and 155 days after his dad, Patrick, scored his one and only Premier League goal at St James's Park. So, with his second goal, he's now scored more times than his dad I did as a Newcastle player in the top flight. And by the way, I was so excited to come on at half-time to say that Patrick was also carded that day that he scored, and it was 5-1 for Justin to be shown a card in the second half. Alas, he was booked right in stoppage time in the end there, wasn't he? So that's a bit of a shame. But to the match odds, then Bournemouth, they were 7-2 just before Kluivert scored his second of the day. They're now even money with the 2-1 lead, and they will finish a day a point behind their hosts if they can hold on. They've also scored more goals via subs than any other side in the Premier League this season have Bournemouth, but we know their bench is very thin on the ground when it comes to Premier League experience. But another warning to Newcastle there. The home side are 3-1 to come out and win this game. Remember, they're chasing that 10th win in a row, club record that would be, if they can turn it round. Just quickly on the player bets, Betfair, they've boosted Martin Dubravka to make 5 or more saves. He's made 2 so far, so would need 3 more in the second half. That's up to 7-2, and based on that first half, I think that looks a real one to look out for, if I'm honest. Whilst if Newcastle are going to turn this round fair, they're going to need more from Isak and Gordon, aren't they? I mean, especially Isak. He's had the fewest touches of any outfield player in the game. He's now 13-8 to score for a 9th Premier League game in a row. Whilst if you combine that with Lewis Hall to commit a foul, you mentioned it, Faye, he's really struggled against David Brooks in that first half. You can back the half-time bet builder on the Betfair Sportsbook at 11-2.
Brilliant stuff. Thank you very much, Alex. That odds update, all thanks to Betfair, returns accurate as of 10 minutes ago. For verification, see betfair.com. Over 18s only. Conditions apply. Go to gambleaware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Betfair. Get a completely free acca or bet builder on football this weekend. Opt-in and previous deposit required. Max free bet varies from £1 to £10 per customer. Minimum odds and T's and C's apply. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Substitutes warming up here at St James's Park, and we've seen Fabian Schär for Newcastle heading down towards the bench, looking like he's getting prepared to come on for the second half. So that could be a bit of a reshuffle for Eddie Howe and his team. We'll keep you updated on that. Following us at 2:30, Adrian Durham's going to take you around the grounds with all the goals as they go in the Premier League and the EFL. He's at the G-Tech Community Stadium for Brentford against Liverpool. Really looking forward to that game. Aid, what else have you got planned?
Well, we're around the grounds, all the goals as they go in. There are 3 Premier League 3 o'clock kickoffs. Brentford, Liverpool, Leicester, Fulham. Leicester, 6 straight Premier League defeats. They're desperate. And West Ham take on Crystal Palace as well. And, of course, we're in the Championship, League 1, League 2. We've got the National League goals as they go in. And it's Scottish Cup Day as well. And we're the only place with a full classified check on national radio after 5 o'clock.
Of course you are. Also, Liverpool, a couple of draws. Are they having their little mid-season wobble we've been talking about?
And the other thing about that is Mo Salah, and you can't say he's bad, you can't say he's having a bad patch or whatever. He's on 18 goals, top Premier League scorer. But if he isn't scoring the last couple of games, what is he doing? He's been pretty anonymous, if not scoring goals. You can't really criticise him. You'd never leave him out.
You wouldn't dare criticise him, mate.
No,
even you.
But there have been a couple of games recently where I've thought, I didn't realise he was playing until he's missed a chance or whatever. Certainly at Forest, he didn't really come to the party, and it was a fantastic atmosphere, a fantastic game at the City Ground, and he really wasn't involved in it as much as you would expect. So looking for Salah to come to the party, and then Liverpool, they will feel confident they can seal the title, a second Premier League title, but I think it's still up for grabs. Arsenal, let's not forget, they've had a lot of criticism, Arsenal. They play at 5:30 against Aston Villa. They closed the gap midweek.
They did indeed. Newcastle looking to do that today as well. Thank you very much, Adrian, on from 2:30 with Round the Grounds Game Day Live. Don't forget as well, West Ham against Crystal Palace. We've got live commentary of that on Talksport 2 at 3 o'clock. The Newcastle players are out the earliest here at St James's Park. No doubt a rocket under them from Eddie Howe and his coaching team. Fabian Schär is joining them as well. I'm sure we'll get an update from Sam Matterface very shortly. Lewis Hall is still out there despite a nervy first half performance from him. We're just awaiting the Bournemouth players who are starting to come out of the tunnel, currently having a conversation. They lead this game by 2-1. It was a little bit feisty towards the end of the first half. What are we going to see in this second half? Sit back and enjoy live and exclusive national radio commentary of Newcastle United against Bournemouth with your commentary team of former England captain Stuart Pearce alongside Talksport's chief football commentator Sam Matterface.
And what you're going to see is Fabian Schär at the start of the second half. Didn't start against Wolves because of illness. Has had a couple of games out with suspension, but is going to come into the team for the second half here just to stiffen that defensive resolve. And he takes the place of Sven Botman. And look, Sven Botman, I think, has done a terrific job coming back into the team as quickly as he had after 295 days on the sidelines. And as a result of that, maybe just feeling the effects of being out for so long, hasn't necessarily been, I had to step in because Schär was suspending and then ill. So he has probably played more football than you would expect at this stage of his recovery. He's gone off at half time, and our first change is a Newcastle change. Apart from that, we're as we start the start of the second 45, with Newcastle attacking now the Gallagate end away to our right-hand side, the end that they love to attack in the second half of matches. And I'll go through the 2-11s for you in just a second, but those black and white shirts are coming forward at the beginning of this second half, with Isak on the ball and wanting to take a throw in quickly and get Murphy away down the right-hand side, looking to get beyond Housen, who adjusts his position and then turns the ball against Murphy and out for a goal kick away to our right. Dubravka is the goalkeeper. Livramento, Cher, Byrne and Hall the back four now for Newcastle. It's Guimaraes, Tonali and Joel Linton in midfield, with Murphy, Isaac and Gordon up top. For the away side, Bournemouth, who lead by 2-1. Rida Balaga is the goalkeeper. Cook, Housen, Zabani and Kirkes the back four. Adams, Kluivert and Christie in midfield. Kluivert obviously playing as the 10. 2 bookings there for Adams and Kluivert. Brooks, Ouattara and Semenyo are the 3-pronged attack. Cardiff have taken the lead against Swansea. They're 1-0 up in the South Wales derby. Here it's 2-1 to Bournemouth. And they're on the attack, Bournemouth, down the left-hand side with Kirkes delivering the ball into the box. It's too hefty for Brooks initially to chase out to the far side, and it goes out, I think, for a corner because Hall's got the final touch on that. Stuart Pearce is alongside us. Newcastle have been leading in half-time of 8 of their last 9 games. Bournemouth have been behind in 3 of their last 4 away games. It's all flipped on its head today, and so is the form, really, for Newcastle.
Yeah, and the only bright thing for Newcastle is they're not further behind, I think. 2-1 probably flatters them a little bit. They've been really poor, but they've got a second half to turn this round.
Here is the corner far side, taken by Christie. It's deep towards the far post. Housen with the header across the face of goal. He should have done better with that. And he sent it right through the 6-yard box and out the other side, when really he should have directed it towards goal. He got up and it was a free header, Stuart.
It certainly was. As I say, done really well, climbed brilliantly at the far post, but in trying to sort of head it goalwards, it's sort of the curl on the ball's taking it away from the goal.
Well, the last 2 meetings between Bournemouth and Newcastle have finished in draws. There was the 1-1 when they met in August on the South Coast, 2-2 here last season in the Premier League. Anthony Gordon scored in both. There always tends to be late drama. You might remember Matt Ritchie scoring a late equaliser against his former club for Newcastle. Oh, given away by Cher, straight to Brooks. Brooks back towards the Newcastle goal and saved by Dubravka, and he's got his mate Fabian Cher out of dodge there, because from the right full-back position he passed the ball to the edge of the area straight to David Brooks.
It was awful, and Brooks opened his body up, but he'd done it so obviously. The goalkeeper was on his way before the shot was delivered.
Livramento sending Murphy through the centre. He gets it caught between his feet and it rebounds into the right wing position, and there's nobody there in black and white. The idea was right from Newcastle, but I even noticed there, Newcastle trying to move the ball quickly and get it up towards Murphy. Murphy was almost isolated running forward in that advanced right position, and he was surrounded by 4 teal shirts.
Yeah, as I say, they've got that side of the game, Bournemouth, really well. The pressing from dead set plays as well has been outstanding.
Yep. Bradford have taken the lead away at Carlisle. And Bradford, who under Graham Alexander, have won 4 of the last 6 league games in League 2. And they're in front currently in the EFL. Remember that Cardiff-Swansea game continues over on Talksport 2. Here it's 2-1 to Bournemouth. And I said that there's usually late drama when these two meet. That Matt Ritchie goal is one of them, but you might remember as well that Dongo Ouattara 93rd minute goal, which Bournemouth thought at the time was a winner earlier in the season. It was adjudged to have been handball because it came off his shoulder, if you remember, from a late set piece. Maybe there'll be late drama here. Got a long way to go. 5 minutes into the second half. Here is Gordon, edge of the penalty area, trying to get it onto his right foot for Newcastle. It's collected by Murphy, dead centre of the Bournemouth half, and then Livramento speeds the ball into the corner looking for Bruno Guimaraes. He wants it back again, Livramento, to get a cross in. Murphy is on the angle of the box if he wants to use him. He's gone to Guimaraes instead. Now Murphy has it on the edge of the Bournemouth penalty area. They've got so many men behind the ball here. It's difficult to find the gaps for Newcastle as they come forward with Bruno Guimaraes into Gordon. Poor pass by him, cut out by Ouattara, and then collected by Brooks, who sends it forward. Space for Christie. Hall trying to get back in front of him. Oh, and then gets in front of him, then loses out and gives it back to Christie, edge of the penalty area. He wanders into the box, left-footed shot, takes a deflection, goes behind, and it's out for a corner.
Well, it's very difficult to get your head round what Lewis Hall done just then. He's done well in getting back goal side, and all of a sudden didn't deal with the ball and just collapsed to the ground and lost possession. Bournemouth, another good opportunity, couldn't find the finish, but got a corner now to try and exploit Newcastle's frailties.
He's really struggled today, has Lewis Hall, in that left full-back position after such a good season. Ball into the near post, headed away by Joel Linton. trying to get his team out from the back as Cardiff take a 2-goal lead against Swansea. It wasn't so long ago that Omar Issa, who was angling for the job full time, was then given it and then immediately under pressure at the Cardiff City Stadium. But a victory over Swansea will certainly ease any of that. And they've got on a bit of an unbeaten run now, the bottom half of the Championship table. And leading by 2-0 is certainly going to alleviate any problems that he's got right now. Here is Guimaraes winning it back and then feeding the ball up towards Livramento. Livramento to Isaac. Isaac steps across Housen, plays it further wide. Now Murphy takes over. Right wing position taking on Kirkes, who's backing off but watching the ball all the way. Murphy into the penalty area, goes on the outside. Terrific defending by Kirkes. You could see that coming a mile off. Murphy was trying to take him on, but Kirkes only had eyes for the ball. He was staring at it. He looked in complete command of that position and puts it behind for a corner.
Yeah, your body language tells you everything, you know what I mean? He demonstrated confidence, and on the other side of that, the two Newcastle fullbacks, every time they've been run at, they look a bag of nerves.
What do you think of the Barnet, though, for Milos Kirkes? You having the mullet?
Not had a good look. I do like a mullet, though.
Ball into the edge of the 6-yard box, flicked away from the corner, back in by Cher, but it's going to go straight out for a corner, is it? No, apparently it went out and then came back in again, according to Stuart Atwell. And it is a goal kick away to our right-hand side. You're a mullet fan, are you?
Well, a lot of the bands now, the Indian punk bands, are sporting mullets. You know, there's a couple in Amil and the Sniffers. If ever you go to see them, you know, you'll see the odd mullet on guitar.
Ah, yes. I didn't have you down as a trend follower, though. I thought you were a setter.
Yeah, well, but this is just taking me back to yesteryear, really,
yes,
you know.
Of course.
What goes round comes round, you know that.
My favourite ever picture of you is in the Commentary City shirt, where you'd washed your hair and not styled it, and you had a bit of the old mullet going on at the time, and you had your team photo, and it is a bang, isn't it, as they call it, the big old fringe.
To be honest with you, no one told me it was team photo day that day until I walked out onto the pitch.
Ball out over on the far side, collected by another exponent of the mullet, Anthony Gordon, into the edge of the 6-yard box. His cross is easily steered away. That got the Newcastle blood thickening, but not really anything too troubling for Bournemouth. Ball over on the far touchline. Newcastle send it forward. Bruno Guimaraes has just run in behind there and got hold of the ball in the left wing position. He's fed it back to Gordon. Gordon on to Tonali. Tonali shrugs away Cliver, shoots towards the far corner, and it's over the top of the crossbar. But maybe that's just a sign that Newcastle have started just to pick up the pace a little bit. We'll see whether or not they can continue that. Liverpool have drawn their last 2 Premier League games. We'll keep you in touch with everything that happens at the G-Check this afternoon. They've got Brentford, who have been dropping points at home recently. Alex Crook will be there.
Well, Andy Robertson had a difficult night for Liverpool against Forest in midweek. He's replaced by Kostas Tsimikas in Liverpool's only change. Brentford make one alteration as well. Yarmouk is in for Jensen. It's Brentford against Liverpool.
He's only been in the job 5 minutes, but pressure is already starting to build on Ruud van Nistelrooy at Leicester. They take on Fulham today, who are having a bit of a slump, Dave Rowe.
Struggling Leicester make one change from their midweek defeat to Palace. Jordan Ayew starts in place of Benanote. New signing Koulibaly is not involved. One change also for Fulham, who lost at West Ham. Sander Berge is back from injury. He replaces Pereira, who's on the bench.
Cheers, Dave. Thank you very much. Semenyo has the ball for Bournemouth, who lead by 2-1 here at Newcastle United. The ball travelling into the centre, collected by David Brooks. And it's Bournemouth who are on the attack, coming forward away to our left-hand side. Newcastle, who are usually fast out of the traps in games, we mentioned that in the first half, but they are even better in the second 45 when they come out after the break. Foul by Tonali, though, has given an opportunity for Bournemouth to have a free kick on the edge of the penalty area. Actually, Newcastle have scored 10 Premier League goals in the first 15 minutes of the second half this season, which is the most in the Premier League. As Hull take the lead away at Millwall, and Team News drops at the London Stadium. Palace are the visitors today. They're 4 unbeaten, Joe Shannon.
Absolutely, and they've made just one change today with Kamada in for Lerma, who is unwell. One change likewise for West Ham United, looking to make it 2 wins from 2 in the Premier League under Graham Potter. Cresswell replaces Soler, who drops to the bench.
Cheers, Joe. And Joe is your commentator on Talksport 2. If you'd like to listen to that game, West Ham against Crystal Palace, then just download our Talksport app and you can flick between Talksport, Talksport 2. There's loads of stuff on there. All of the big radio stations that you need. Virgin Radio Chill, Virgin Radio Anthems. You've got Talk Radio and Times Radio available as well, and all the great podcasts that Talksport produce. Here is Clive Burton Brooks with the free kick. It's towards the far post. It's a free header for Sabani. Again, it's not a well-directed one. It goes high into the air and over the top of the Dubravka goal and out for a goal kick in front of the Lees' end. It's still 2-1 to Bournemouth.
Yeah, the format of this game has not changed since the first half. Bournemouth are looking the better of the two sides without a doubt. And I think, Eddie Howe, I think the answer might be the substitutes bench for Newcastle to try and rekindle a little bit of some of that form that's made them look so strong. You can't believe this is a team that's gone on a winning run like they have. You really can't.
And you can't believe that Alexander Isak has been in such great form. When you look back at his statistics over the course of the last few weeks, I mean, he's been in absolutely rare form, but he's hardly had a kick today. I mean, he is a supreme striker, there's no doubt about that. He's been an absolute revelation in this period. 11 goals since December the 4th, 4 more than anybody else, salary included, but he's hardly had a kick today.
Yeah, and I don't think that's his fault, if I'm being honest with you. I think it's the backup behind him that's caused that.
Gordon into Hall, inside the penalty area. Well, he's just tried an ambitious back heel which didn't come off, but Joel Linton's kept it alive. Tried to feed Gordon down the left-hand side, doesn't reach him. It's away by Zabani. The connections aren't right today from Newcastle.
No, they're certainly not. As I say, good ball into Hall there, and it's as though we weren't expecting it, and just try to backheel a pass away that was so flawed. It was incredible.
Bruno Guimaraes in midfield, trying to get away from the very talented and tenacious Christie. He does get the wrong side of Christie. Christie then forced into a foul, and actually Bruno Guimaraes probably needs a little bit of credit there, because there was nowhere to go. He was running down a cul-de-sac, and he just held onto the ball and just said to Christie, well, I'm going to try and beat you, and you're going to have to stop me somehow from running past you. If you do that illegally, I'm going to take the free kick, and that's what happened eventually. Yeah,
he certainly did. He held on to the ball, but what I would say is the other side of that is if he did lose the ball, there's a good counter-attack opportunity on. So if I was him, I wouldn't gamble with the ball there, personally. But good opportunity to put the ball in the box if they can get the delivery right.
Well, that's something they haven't done so far, apart from the one delivery which led to the Bruno goal. It's going to be Gordon who swings it in. It's headed away by Christie. Comes out to Bruno Guimaraes, left side of the area. Semenyo is standing in front of him. Bruno Guimaraes needs a little bit of help here, and he hasn't got it. And then Semenyo has knocked him over, and another free kick has been given over on the far side. And Bruno's trying to get the crowd up, but I think it's the players that need to get up, really, because they're struggling to raise the tempo, but they are winning set pieces in and around the penalty area that Bournemouth are defending, and that may well cause a bit of grief. Stuart Atwell just being surrounded by a couple of Bournemouth players who aren't happy about the award of this free kick, and now backing off into the penalty area. Semenyo, the guilty party, trotting towards Bruno Guimaraes inside the box with a smile on his face. And a free kick about to come in from the wide left position. So Gordon might take this. If he does, he'll hit it right-footed in towards the near side. If it's Lewis Hall, it'll be an out-swinger. Both of them presiding over the ball. Dan Burn is at the back post. Sher is up from the back. Joel Linton is in there as well. That's the height in the attacking battalion. It's a terrible free kick. It's driven low in towards the near post, and it's easily cleared. And now there's a chance for a counter-attack. It's sent forward by Ouattara, and Dubravka had to get his starting position just right and read that, and he did, and comes out and clears.
Well, if you thought the ball in from Gordon was poor, the secondary clearance from Lewis Hall was equally as bad and nearly put Bournemouth on the attack.
Wow, it was a very poor free kick, wasn't it? It's been a tough day for those on the left-hand side of that Newcastle team. Here is Ouattara at the other end, trying to get beyond Dan Burn. He's done that, then flicked the ball in towards the near post. It's taken a deflection, comes off the post, comes back towards Brooks. It's saved brilliantly by Dubravka into the near post, away by Bruno Guimaraes. Still not clear. Comes back out to Tyler Adams. He slides it down the right side of the box. It's all hands to the pump here for Newcastle. In towards Ouattara. He beats the offside trap and pokes it home from Brooks' cross. It's 3-1 to Bournemouth. Well, they were all over Newcastle. They were swarming that 18-yard box in front of the Lees' end. And a delicate cross from Brooks eventually cuts open the defence. And maybe Bournemouth now are going to blight the Toon Tilda history. It's 3-1 to the Cherries.
Well, Sam, I think the result, or the scoreline, should I say, at this moment in time, is a fair reflection of the game. There's no doubt about that. Bournemouth had too much time available to them in and around Newcastle's box there, and eventually they found the finish at the far post. And to be fair, hit the post just prior to that. The goalie's made a brilliant save after that, but they never really dealt confidently. I tell you what, the ball's out of play. This will be chalked off.
Well, VAR is checking a possible ball out of play scenario just before it is recycled. I mean, it was a lovely, delicate cross from Brooks in towards the 6-yard box. What a finish from Ouattara, who anticipated that.
Yeah,
but was it out of play?
100%.
Tonali went to hook it back from the byline, and what a let-off for Newcastle. They have had the goal chalked off. It's 2-1 to Bournemouth, not 3. Ouattara's goal doesn't stand, and it's a corner to Bournemouth.
Yeah, as I say, this is what VAR's for, you know, to check things like that. We didn't see it. You can't physically see it from where we're sat, but the ball had definitely gone over the touchline when Tonali has tried to hook it away and get Newcastle on the attack again.
Well, there was an incident here a couple of, 18 months ago when Arsenal thought the ball had gone out of play and it couldn't be seen with the naked eye. And even after a VAR review, they couldn't actually work it out. But certainly there is clear evidence that the ball was out of play in that scenario, and Bournemouth are denied. So it's 2-1 to Bournemouth. They're on the attack again, deep to the far post, flicked away by Dubravka. It was right under his crossbar, flicked back in by Housen towards Adams, cleared away by Joel Linton. And can Newcastle United capitalise on that turn of events? Well, Tonali trying to get up the pitch, he's dispossessed, it goes out for a throw-in on halfway, but the Newcastle fans are trying to use that, harness that bit of fortune that they've had there, Stuart, to try and drive their team on.
Yeah, they certainly are, as I say, and Eddie Howe seemed fit, I think, to reach to the bench, and I think we've got a couple of substitutes coming on this stage. We've
also got a hooter that needs a bit of a repair, because Fabian Schär has got a cut on his eye and under his to the right of his nose. He's been whacked, and that's going to result in him having to be patched up after a collision from that set piece. The referee stopped the game as a result. Murphy's gone down inside the Bournemouth half. It's going to be Joe Willock who comes on. That's going to be the first change that they make, and it looks like Kieran Trippier is going to come on. I wouldn't be surprised, actually, Stuart, if he goes on at left back.
Well, listen, Lewis Hall's been awful today, I've got to say, and I was raving about him when I saw him against Arsenal, and I thought he'd done well for England. But today has not. He's been way off the mark, and I think Livramento's been poor as well. Both full-backs for Newcastle have offered nothing going forward, and certainly been even worse defensively.
And that can happen. You can have bad games.
It happens. You know, he's a young man. He's improving. There's no problem there. But Newcastle needs something, and the only thing available to the manager at the moment is reaching to the bench.
Well, Willock and Trippier are about to come on for Eddie Howe and his team. And Willock, who made a good impact down at Arsenal when he was called upon, when they won the game in the semi-final of the Carabao Cup. And Kieran Trippier hasn't had much football, had a touch of cramp in the last few games when he has been involved, because he hasn't got a lot of football. He's behind Livramento in the pecking order. He did play 90 minutes against Bromley in the FA Cup on Sunday. He's coming on as well, and Schär has been patched up now. Actually, I think the cut was more above his eyebrow. And he's got some Vaseline and a few little temporary stitches in there. Jacob Murphy coming off for Willock, and it's going to be Trippier who goes on. Cardiff now 3-0 up at home to Swansea. And elsewhere, Hull leading Millwall by a goal to nil. They've had a really tough time of it. 7th last season, Hull, but fighting against relegation this. The confirmation of the change. Lewis Hall goes off, and on comes Trippier. And Trippier actually, I think, is going to go to right back and Livramento to left back in the change.
Yeah, that would make more sense. As I say, Livramento's achieved very little at the right back situation, so he's as well sliding him over there. And Trippier, well, not just his performance when he comes on now, but I think his leadership is needed within the Newcastle ranks at present.
And his set-piece delivery, because set-pieces have been a real problem for them so far in the game. They've got quite a few and not made the most of any of them.
Well, it's the only thing that they've got right in that first half by getting their goal from it.
Here is Brooks into the penalty area looking for Semenyo, missed by Trippier. It goes all the way through the 18-yard box as quickly Bournemouth try to get on the attack. The fourth official is getting absolutely killed by the Bournemouth coaching staff again on this near side. I think they were unhappy that when the ball went out of play, it quickly went back to Newcastle United. They gave it away anyway. Here is Cher at the heart of the defence. We've got 23 minutes to go.
Yeah, one of those on their coaching staff, as you pointed out, is Doc Beasley, who used to be the England doctor and the West Ham doctor, so I'm not sure what he's got to say to the fourth official.
I think he's a little bit upset that Fabian Cher, who had treatment on the near side, didn't come off for a prolonged period. Here is Bruno Guimaraes out to Livramento, now on the left-hand side by Newcastle. Willock takes up the play over on the far side. He tries to get down the left side of the box, pushed across into the area, looking for Isaac, headed away by Housen. And then it bounces out on the edge of the centre circle. Ouattara holds on to it, then runs himself into a little bit of trouble. He's been followed all the way by Dan Burn. And now Semenyo's got to be dealt with by Trippier. We shrugged off Trippier, who's gone to ground. They wanted a free kick, and it's taken a little while for Stuart Atwell to be forthcoming with that. Might have gone out of play. Either way, it's a Newcastle ball deep inside their own half.
That's what they got right today, Bournemouth. If they'd been in any danger, like Ouattara just then, he's just turned the ball round and turned the opposition around, you know what I mean? Not got caught with the ball. And if you compare that to Newcastle, they've lost the ball and conceded goals from it.
Ball out of play over on the far side. And then a free kick is given. Another one. Tyler Adams again on Anthony Gordon. Anthony Gordon is just turning around to Stuart Atwell and saying, well, come on, ref. You know, I'm getting a bit... it's Lewis Cook, actually, who did the final challenge, although Tyler Adams went and joined in afterwards. But the free kick's definitely been given for the foul by Cook. And Gordon just protesting to Stuart Atwell that maybe there could have been a card there for the former England man. Meanwhile, the Premier League Match Centre has confirmed that the ball was out of play in the build-up to the Ouattara goal, which has been disallowed. It's the second time in 2 matches against Newcastle he's had a goal disallowed, a pivotal goal disallowed. Could it be key here this afternoon? Tonali whipping it in right-footed, in towards the middle of the goal. It goes through everybody and out of play. No touch by any black and white jersey. And I tell you what, it was there to be converted, that. It's gone behind for a goal kick.
Well, I think if you drop a free kick that lands in the 6-yard box and then goes out the back door, you've as a free kick taker, you fully expect one of your teammates to get on the end of it.
You're listening to Talksport. Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 2 on Talksport with Sky Sports. And don't forget, you can stream the biggest Premier League games available with no contract on now, like Arsenal versus Aston Villa live today. Search Now Sports. Here is Ouattara playing the ball in behind Trippier, and Semenyo is quickly on it for Bournemouth. Down the left, low ball into the near post. It's going into the far corner. It hits the post from Brooks and comes back out, and it's cleared away by Joel Linton. It's another massive let-off for Newcastle United. They just about get away with it, and now they look to counter-attack with Willock. Over the halfway line he heads, but Housen is there with a strong tackle. And it's out on this near side. Well, what a chance for David Brooks. who just nudged the ball towards the far corner, and we could see it agonisingly going towards the corner, and just before it was about to sneak in, it was missed by Dubravka, and luckily for Newcastle, it just swerved away and hit the post.
Well, they've certainly got away with a few bits and pieces, Newcastle. The disallowed goal about 5 minutes ago, and on that occasion the ball cannoning off the post and coming out again.
Ryan Christie has just been booked, and he's been booked for a rather agricultural challenge on this near side, which has quickly and very well, it's certainly upset Tommy Elphick, who's the Bournemouth assistant manager.
It's amazing how this game changes round, isn't it? You've got a situation, we spoke before, Newcastle title contenders, and all of a sudden you come and see a performance like this that answers that question.
Willock has it, spinning towards him, edge of the Bournemouth penalty area. Out on the right it goes to Joel Linton. Joel Linton centrally to Bruno Guimaraes. Out to the far side now, and Gordon on the attack for Newcastle. Bit of space for Bruno Guimaraes. Might try to hit it here. Doesn't. Plays it into Joel Linton instead. Inside the area. Tries to pull it back. Tackle comes in. Brilliant stop from Kirkes. And it goes out for a corner on this near side. And Newcastle have had their chances. They just haven't been ruthless enough. Stuart Pearce.
They certainly haven't. The ball's got played through to Joe Linton, then he's burst into the box on the angle. You take a touch and then you give it everything you've got and unload it. Joe Linton didn't do that. Took a secondary touch and all of a sudden got the cross cut out.
Corner, which Trippier will take from this near side. What can they make from this one? It's a driven delivery in towards Cher with a header. And it's on target, straight into the arms of Kepa Arrizabalaga. Well, Newcastle have finished 4th and 7th in the last 2 years. 2 of only 3 finishes inside the top 9 in the Premier League in the last 18 seasons. The other being under Alan Pardew in 2012. He's back on the final word with Majestic on Sunday on Talksport. Now, clearly that is the aim, to get back into the top 4 for Newcastle United this time around. But they've got to keep putting points on the board. If they could get a point from this game, Stuart, I think they will be absolutely delighted, because they have not been at their best, and that's probably an understatement.
Well, if they take a point from this, they certainly probably at the moment don't deserve it. It wouldn't surprise me if they did, you know. If they want to stay in the title race, real serious contenders, they're going to have to get something from this game in games where you don't deserve to.
Yeah. If they get something from this game, maybe Eddie Howe will be arrested for daylight robbery. Here is Isaac down the right-hand side, edge of the penalty area. Bruno Guimaraes, he sends the ball towards the left. Livramento coming in, trying to latch onto the end of it, doesn't quite get there, and it goes out of play over on the far side. Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 2. Maybe they can just upturn the volume, upturn the temperature of the intensity in this last 18 minutes of the game. Here is Gordon, far side, trying to get into the penalty area. Wriggles away from one, and then a second, and gets to the byline, produces a cross, flicks into the air by Zabarnyi. Goalkeeper comes out and collides with his own player, and then manages to deal with it. And then, both the goalkeeper and the player go down. I think it's Ryan Christie, go down on the floor, saying that they're injured. I mean, Kepa Arrizabalaga certainly wasn't. He turned round with the ball in his hands, leant over, had a word with Ryan Christie, and then went, I'll go down as well now, and then threw himself to the floor.
Yeah, I think Christie, he's ended up Kepa landing on his ankle, so you can understand why he's a little bit tender. But Kepa, my goodness me.
Let me bring the latest odds from Betfair. Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 2. The official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage are offering you right now Newcastle to win at 7-1. The draw is available at 9-4. You can back Bournemouth to win at 7-4 on. And that's all thanks to Betfair, who are paying out winning bets at 90 minutes with 90-minute guarantee. Terms and conditions apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org. Let's give you an update of the goals elsewhere so far as the game just gets underway here. It's Cardiff 3, Swansea 0 in the Championship. Hull lead away at Millwall by a goal to 0. QPR 1-0 up against Plymouth, who are under their new manager today. In League One, it's 2-2 now, Blackpool Huddersfield. Steve Bruce gone from leading 2-0 at Bloomfield Road. They were without a win there in 9 games. It's now 2-2. Posh, who have scored more goals than everybody in League One apart from Wickham, 0. Leyton Orient 0, Northampton 0, Lincoln 0. Tommy Elphick gets a yellow card because he has been mouthing off all day at the fourth official. I think Tommy Elphick and Jason Tindall know each other quite well from previous engagements. And in League Two, it's 1-0 to Bradford against Carlisle, and Gillingham 0, Doncaster 1. Up towards the edge of the area, headed on by Gordon after Byrne missed it. And then offside flag is up and the free kick is wasted, and it's back with Bournemouth. And they've got 15 minutes to get a goal back here, Newcastle.
Yeah, and at this moment in time, they don't look as though they're going to. Bournemouth slowing the game down. Kepa will get booked very shortly for time wasting, and I think their best means of defence, Bournemouth, will keep going forward and getting the ball forward as quickly as they can.
They've been so good away from home, Stuart, as well. You know, if you look at their last two away results, they finished 2-2. That was at Fulham and against Chelsea. That ended a run of 3 consecutive away victories: away at Wolves, away at Ipswich, and away at Man United, when they were absolutely terrific that day. I mean, Man United were useless, but they were brilliant that day. And Bournemouth owner Bill Foley said at the beginning of the season that his ambition was to take the team into Europe. It will be the first time in their 126-year history that they've managed that, if they do get a foray onto the continent. And from what we've seen so far today, there's every chance that they're going to pull that off.
Oh, no doubt about that. They've been absolutely superb today. They can carry on that form. And you associate Bournemouth and their performances with being strong at home, but certainly that away form, as you said.
Ouattara with a late challenge on Bruno Guimaraes is going to result in yet another yellow card. He a little bit frustrated, I think, that his goal was chalked off earlier. He's had 1 or 2 other chances. He's looked quite good leading that line in the absence of Evan Nilsson and Enis Unal, but it is a free kick which Trippier is going to take just short of the centre circle. It's bright blue sky here today, but it's very chilly, and at the moment Newcastle being frozen out because they can't get really any proper clear-cut chances on the Arida Balaga goal. They might now, as Isaac tries to squirm inside the penalty area. It dropped for him kindly, but again they closed ranks so well as the ball flicked up towards his midriff, and they just shepherded it back to Kepa Arida Balaga. Good first header from Byrne from the long free kick. It came down towards Isaac, but he couldn't get it under control first time, and then everybody just converged on him.
If you're going to converge on anybody, it's Isaac in and around your box if you want to get a result up here at the moment.
Too right. 12 goals in his last 10 games. Can he get another one to get them out of dodge? He wants to keep his goal-scoring run going. He's looking to try and beat that record that Jamie Vardy has of scoring in 11 straight games. Here is Tyler Adams. Oh, he's a little bit casual with his pass out to David Brooks there, and it's gone straight out for a throw. Where are we at? 77.5 minutes gone. You're listening to Talksport, and it's 2-1 to Bournemouth. Here is Bruno Guimaraes. Well, he's been strong-armed off the ball by Kluivert there, and Milos Kerkez is away on the left-hand side, but Kluivert has gone through the middle. He's then tried to play a reverse ball, which didn't have the pace on the pass to find Kerkez. And Newcastle turned it over very quickly and got it up the other end. It's headed out by Housen. A throw which Trippier wants to take and take quickly. He tosses it into Tonali. Tonali wearing 8 and charging forward. Looked to play it square. Decided to go outside to Trippier instead. And this is Fabian Schär. Schär striding over halfway line. A little tap to Byrne. Byrne to the left now and on to Livramento. They're starting to build up a bit of a head of steam here, Newcastle. Can they get a decent effort on goal? Gordon comes in field, tries to wriggle away from Cook, succeeds in doing that. On to Willock, now on to Livramento. Livramento with the ball into the box. It takes a little deflection. Not enough purchase on that. And you know what? Cook did enough to get back and stop the cross from being anything other than just a hit and hope.
Well, you look at Cook playing at right back, filling in not his naturalised position, and you think could be a weakness. Anything but.
Yeah, been terrific. Proper leader as well. And very impressive performance all round from Bournemouth. Can they see it out? 79 minutes gone. Usually with Bournemouth there is a lot of late drama. They've actually scored the most goals in the final 10 minutes of games and the most goals after 90 minutes this season in the Premier League. What Newcastle want is to score one in their net. You're listening to Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 2 on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day. And by the way, I should probably point you in the direction of our live and exclusive cricket coverage next week. The England Tour of India is about to start. We've got absolutely everything for you. All the T20s, all the ODIs on Talksport 2, Talksport Cricket YouTube channel. Brendan McCullum beginning life as the new white ball head coach as well. On air with the first T20, 12:30 p.m. on Wednesday. Join us for that live on Talksport 2. We're looking forward to that. We do love our cricket on Talksport and Talksport 2. Free kick given against Bruno Guimaraes. A free kick which is given for a foul on Christie. Kirkes and Housen taking their time over getting the game restarted. And whatever happens today with Newcastle, they've put themselves into a good position with all those victories that they've had in a row. They've certainly elevated themselves from a bottom half position, which they were on December the 1st, to, they could have gone into the top 3 with a victory here today. So they've certainly turned things around from that point of view. But they can't really afford to have a blip at this stage of the season. They do have some what you would consider to be winnable games upcoming. They travel to Southampton next, then welcome Fulham here. Then it's Arsenal in the League Cup semi-final, second leg on Talksport. And if they play like this in the second leg of that semi-final, then Arsenal might have a little bit of encouragement. They go to Birmingham away in the Cup, Manchester City away, Forest at home, and then Liverpool live on Talksport in the big round of games that we've got for you here on the network in the middle of February. Daniel Jebison is coming on. He's just come back from a loan spell from Watford, and he is the only senior player really on the bench, and even he is incredibly young. He is only 21 years of age. Scoring his return against West Brom, and he's on the pitch now to add to the attack in the final few minutes.
It's quite refreshing that teams only make one substitution, isn't it? This day and age. The game's often broken up so much, and I'm sure it might well be later on in the game with Bournemouth.
If you've got an outfield bench with only 9 Premier League appearances amongst those on it, and you've brought on the one with 8 Premier League appearances, you're unlikely to bring on another. Ball's bounced unkindly for Bournemouth. Gordon's helped it on as they look to try and get forward. It's a poor ball by Tonali, but Willock is making the most of it, and he's gone over to the far side. He's been dragged down by Cook. That's going to be a free kick in a wide area for Newcastle. Well, that was a hit and hope really up the field, and it did bounce awkwardly. They didn't make the most of the first one, but the second phase of play, as he went out to the far touchline, he drew the foul from Cook, and that's going to be a set piece which Kieran Trippier will relish delivering.
Well, put it this way, it looks the only way that Newcastle are going to get something out of this game. Create chaos and pop the ball in the box. As it goes at the moment, Bournemouth have dealt, bar the goal, with most things in the box reasonably well. But it's an opportunity. They've loaded the box up, Newcastle, a lot of bodies in there.
Here is the free kick, delivered by Trippier, punched away by Arida Balaga. Comes back out to Gordon, who hits it straight to the defender, and it hit a hand. Well, certainly that was the appeal. It was going straight into the corner of the net, that. The thumping volley from Gordon, who set it beautifully from the edge of the box. He caught it so well, but even he didn't really appeal, because I think whoever arms it hit may have been Housen. It hit him as it was closing towards his body. It certainly wasn't out of the natural silhouette of his body. He hits it right-footed. It was perfect. It was Housen who it hit, but there's no way that the VAR is going to give a handball for that. Ball sent long. Jebison throws off Trippier. It's going to be a throw-in on this near side. It's thrown in quickly to Byrne as they look to try and get things moving quickly. Livramento is under pressure from Ouattara, and Ouattara has pinched it, sent it through to Jebison, who's making a nuisance of himself, and Bournemouth are on the attack again. And here comes Dungo Ouattara, feeding the ball into Jebison on the right-hand side. Long, tall and rangy. He turns the ball to Tyler Adams, and then the slightly shorter and stockier Justin Kluivert just inside the edge of the D. He works it wide to Semenyo, who runs up towards the edge of the box. He slips over. That allows Joel Linton to nip in, rob it, and then send it long. And then Housen just sort of loses his footing, and that almost allowed Isaac to escape, but Zabani was there on the cover.
Yeah, they just dealt with that pretty well, Bournemouth, eventually. And once again, I don't know if Semenyo's just bent over there, just feeling his hamstring slightly.
They won't want to lose him with all of the other injuries that they have got. Cardiff 3, Swansea 0 over on Talksport 2 is coming towards its conclusion. Hull 1 up at Millwall. Plymouth 1-0 down again against Queen's Park Rangers, who have picked up well under Marti Cifuentes. Down the left it goes, onto Semenyo. Challenge comes in on that right-hand side. Trippier looking to try and take it off Kerkez. Across comes Bruno Guimaraes. He then feeds it back. Joel Linton in a battle. Guimaraes in a battle. Spills out to Christie. Christie runs centrally. Nudges it on to Cliver. Bruno Guimaraes dives in for a challenge. It ricochets into the path of Semenyo. Very untidy, but he's managed to turn the ball into Kerkez, who's crossed towards the back post. Might reach Ouattara, who didn't connect first time, and then saw it run across his body and out the penalty area. He comes back in, trying to dance his way into the box. Willock with a challenge. Cook takes over. Cook's done brilliantly. Produces a cross. It's aimed in towards the penalty spot. Away by Byrne. Out as far as Christie. Christie back to Kerkez. Kerkez with a cross. It's very deep. Dubravka should have this. He does. And he will clear out towards the far side, where very quickly Gordon has gone on the attack. He's gone running down the touchline. He's got Isaac in front of him and 3 others joining now. Gordon continues to travel with the ball right up to the edge of the penalty area, feeds it into Isaac. Isaac's going to make the most of this, plays it through to Bruno Guimaraes, doesn't get there. There's a foul by Jefferson. That's going to be a free kick for Tonali, 5 yards back from the edge of the D in a central position.
Yeah, Newcastle sort of surviving on hope and scraps at the moment that they might get back in the game, and it's these free kicks in central and wide areas that they're pinning their hopes on. And Tonali just was caught late slightly, central area, probably about 24 metres out.
Well, the last time that Kieran Trippier scored a goal for Newcastle United was back in February of last year. It came in a thrilling draw against Luton Town. 4-4, the score that day.
Whatever happened to them, eh?
I don't know, what happened to them? Where are they? Where are they now? Where are they now? I do feel a little bit sorry for Luton, actually, to be honest with you, because Rob Edwards did such a fantastic job there. It was actually a goal in that game against Luton, which dragged them back into the match. They were 4-2 down in it. That sent it to 4-3, and they went on to get an equaliser very late on through Harvey Barnes. There was a bit of pushing and shoving there involving Joel Linton and Zabarnyi, and that had to be dealt with by the referee Stuart Atwell, who has been quite active in the game. Free kick to be taken then, about 7 yards back from the edge of the penalty area. Now, I was anticipating that this was Trippier all day long. However, the man with the ball now in his hands and yet to place it. I mean, this is taking ages because there's all sorts of mucking around going on with Cher, who's not supposed to be within a metre of that wall, by the way.
Do you think an indicator who's going to take it is the person who places it? Because I would never ever let anyone place a ball if I was taking a free kick.
And the man with the ball in his hand was Isaac. He placed it down, and then Trippier moved it back into another area. So you tell me. Oh, now Isaac's grabbed it again, and he's moved it, put it down, and now he's counting his paces back towards the right of the ball. Alexander Isak steps up, right-footed, steers it straight into the wall, comes back to Gordon, who fires it well over the top. I should have let Trippier take it, I think.
It was a very poor effort, wasn't it? And, well, listen, I don't know, leaves me scratching my head. I don't think I've ever seen Isaac take a free kick from a direct area before today's game.
Well, this is going to be a huge disappointment for this Newcastle crowd. It'll be 10 games unbeaten for Bournemouth, though. The last team to beat them were Brighton on the 23rd of November. That is some run. And you would argue, actually, this is probably the first team that they've bumped into in that run that are in as good a run as Newcastle are in terms of form. I mean, they played Chelsea in midweek, but Chelsea have been struggling for a little bit of form. But this is a good result, I think, which will make it even better, feel even better for Andoni Iraola.
I think the result's good. What's been better, though, Sam, is the performance.
Especially bearing in mind the amount of injuries they've had. And here's Jefferson, the only substitute they've used so far, to Semenyo inside the box. Left-footed, drills the ball towards the near corner, and it's blocked by Byrne and out for a corner. Well, that was another good move, and Jebison, who's made a difference with his speed, getting in behind and setting up Semenyo, who's looking to score for a third straight game and almost did.
Well, put it this way, Dan Burns' intervention then has given Newcastle at least some sort of lifeline to have a go, but at the moment, if any team's going to score, it's going to be Bournemouth.
Well, I mentioned they've scored a lot of goals in injury time. They may well do that. We've got 10 seconds before we reach that department of the game. Here is Adams' corner towards the far post. It's headed over the top, and we've got 7 minutes of added time. 7 minutes. Well. It's quite a lot of time for Newcastle to try and find an equaliser. And they will have confidence in doing so. They're about to bring on Will Asula, the Danish striker who they got from Sheffield United for 10 million quid. He scored against Bromley at the weekend. Might be full of confidence. Jebison trying to keep the ball in on this near touchline. Plays it against Scher, then scurries into the corner. Now the set piece will be taken. Asula about to replace Bruno Guimaraes, which I think means that Anthony Gordon is going to drop a little bit deeper into midfield. Well, it's a last throw of the dice, I think, for Newcastle United, who trail here by 2-1. They won't panic. Eddie Howe's not the guy who does that. He's very good at staying level-headed, even in moments where things go against them. Here is Kluivert from the edge of the area. He's finished it now. It's another quick turnover. It's fallen to Kluivert, and he finishes the hat-trick in stunning style. Absolutely stunning. Edge of the box, grabbed hold of it, right-footed. It went past the goalkeeper in a flash. It's a brilliant effort from Justin Kluivert. He has a hat-trick, and there's no chance of a record-breaking run happening for Newcastle now. Their winning run is over, blunted by Bournemouth. It's a terrific performance, a terrific away day performance by Andoni Iraola and his team, who have been in sparkling form on the road, and today is a pure illustration of that. Justin Kluivert on the ground where his old man used to earn his cash has lit up St James's Park. It's 3-1.
Well, I've got to say, Newcastle once again contributed to that. A giveaway of possession in their own half, not far outside their box. When it arrived at Kluivert's feet, he's opened his body up and then wrong-footed the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper's gone for the curler, and he's just closed his foot and pulled it into the other corner. And no more than they deserve, I don't think. They've been well worthy of a 3-1 scoreline today, and this performance has been as good as I've seen this season from a lot of teams.
It's another injury time goal for Bournemouth, and it's another impressive victory for Andoni Iraola, who closes the gap to Newcastle in the table quite significantly. Here is Joel Linton working it out to Willock on the far side, then on to Isak. Isak trying to get into the box now, doesn't quite manage it. Talksport on a Saturday afternoon, and Bournemouth causing a shock, the first shock of the Premier League weekend. Here is the goalkeeper, Dubravka, trying to get it clear. There's an almighty hush inside this ground now. That's absolutely floored the Newcastle supporters. Up into sixth position behind Chelsea, just a goal difference between them and the Blues. Newcastle now just a point above Bournemouth in the league table, and Bournemouth just threatening to join the race for a European place at the end of the season. And Justin Kluivert has stepped up in the absence of Evan Nilsson, and now Jebison is running away from Scher, getting into the area, tries to chip it over to Dubravka, and he stops it with his right hand. It comes up and manages to swat it away. There was a great chance one-on-one for Daniel Jebison to really ram home the Bournemouth advantage. Lovely little flick by Christie. Semenyo down the left. We've played 5 of the 7 added minutes at the end of the game. Kluivert, who's got a hat-trick, trying to get towards the edge of the box. He's challenged by Joel Linton, and then it's cleared away. 3-1 to Bournemouth against Newcastle. Isaac trying to get towards the edge of the box. He does that. Now trying to send it back towards Joe Willock, who sends it to the far corner. Here's Gordon, cleared off the line by Housen. Perfectly precise to steer the ball clear and prevent a certain goal. I mean, he was positioned perfectly there. He got back on the line to stop Gordon's effort, and it was cleared away.
Yeah, good defensive play there when the goalkeeper was breached. Housen was there. The pairing today have been absolutely... Zabarnyi and Housen have been superb at the back.
Kirkes down the left-hand side, getting towards the edge of the penalty area. He tries to get into the box. He goes on the outside and drives it into the far corner. It's 4-1 to Bournemouth. It's a brilliant strike from Milos Kirkes across the goalkeeper and into the far corner from just inside the box. And it's turned into a Bournemouth battering. They've been brilliant this afternoon. They've set the tone from minute one. And Milos Kirkes has rounded off a fantastic Bournemouth performance with a killer goal right at the very end of stoppage time. It's Newcastle 1, Bournemouth 4. Milos Kirkes with the fourth goal on an afternoon that has stunned St James's Park.
It certainly has, and as I say, this scoreline now is a fair reflection of what we've seen in front of our eyes. Bournemouth have been absolutely wonderful, and Kirkes there just cut inside and opened up the goal. Maybe a slight deflection off of Trippier, potentially, just looking at that. Well, maybe not. Straight into the far corner. Wonderful, wonderful finish.
Well, he got a yellow card for taking his shirt off, which, OK, doesn't seem like it harms anyone, but he's in my fantasy team, so that's going to cost me a point, that. Off comes Cliver. Winterburn comes on. Reece Dotting about to arrive as well. Two young players. Ben Winterburn, who's 20 years of age. It's his third appearance for Bournemouth, coming on to the bench. And Remy Reece Dotting, the 18-year-old who played a minute in the Cup against West Bromwich Albion, just coming on as Dongo Watara is removed. Both of those two players coming on for the final few seconds here. We've only got 10 seconds of added time to play, but this is a brilliant victory for Bournemouth, and I think it just sort of announces them as contenders for a European place. They've been lurking on the edge of that for a little while, but very much now they are putting their hands up and say, hey, don't forget about us.
Well, we mentioned before the game, you know, it was all the talk was Newcastle, but Bournemouth go a point behind them if they win today, and they've certainly done that now. They've been outstanding.
Free kick given against Trippier for a challenge on Christie. Remember, they had a goal disallowed as well for Dongo Watara, and it could have been a lot worse. Newcastle not been at it today, not at the races. A disappointing performance by this Geordie team, who have been dazzling over the last 7 weeks or so, but just haven't managed to live up to some of their previous performances today. They need to get that intensity back again. It just has gone missing right from the very off, actually. You could just sense they weren't quite right. And there has been some performances that weren't brilliant. And as a result, Bournemouth have taken advantage. Well, it had to be Bournemouth, didn't it, that brought Newcastle's winning run to a shuddering halt. And boy, has it come to a shuddering halt. The side associated with their manager Eddie Howe for so long have become the first team to beat the Toon since Brentford on the 7th of December. It means the record stays at 9, and Newcastle's Champions League hopes take a bit of a dent, but it will fuel the ambition of the Cherries and their very impressive boss, Andoni Iraola. He was greeted with caution by some when he turned up at Bournemouth, but he is breaking records all of his own. It's 10 games unbeaten in the Premier League for Bournemouth, who have eyes on a European jaunt themselves. They have thrashed Newcastle United. Newcastle United 1, Bournemouth 4.
What an incredible performance from Andoni Iraola's side. And of course, it was Eddie Howe who set the foundations for Bournemouth off after his 8 years in charge, but you have to say Andoni Iraola has taken them on to another level. A brilliant performance. And our producer Declan McCarthy, after that Milos Kerkez goal, spotted Antoine Semenyo shouting at the bench, "It's just what we do, it's just what we do." And oh my goodness, they have upset the St James's Park faithful here. We talked about the record that they were looking to go on with a record 10th win in a row, but Bournemouth have upset that, and it was a brilliant performance from the Cherries, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, it certainly was. As I say, the only other team in this league that I've seen a better performance from this season has been Liverpool. But that performance away from home, going up against a team that are on a winning run of form at St James's Park, was absolutely outstanding. And from Bournemouth's point of view, they got the result and the scoreline that probably that performance deserved. Wonderful performance, both in and out of possession. They've got so many players that played well in their ranks, and they've come here with so many injuries as well. Incredible. Really incredible. The 1,800 Bournemouth fans up in the top far corner of the Leazes end are applauding the players. Justin Kluivert holding the match ball aloft after his hat-trick. A fantastic performance, and it's time now for us to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day.
Look, it was a team performance, Stu, but there's only one player that's going to win this, isn't there?
Well, listen, I've got to add the two central defenders for Bournemouth were outstanding. I thought today, dealing with Isak, he had a quiet game. I don't think that was necessarily his fault, more so the supply line. But you've got to say Kluivert has delivered the goals with the calm finishes today, and he's got to be the man of the match.
Yeah, absolutely. 100% agree with you. That was our man of the match from today's game with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.